I'm so sorry if people can hear me and we're actually live. I've had a crazy tech thing that could only happen in this insane scenario, so you're gonna have to give me a second. I'm just gonna talk this through as I try to sort this problem out. I'm so sorry. Fucking crazy timing, man. My goodness. Okay. See, Google thought it would be cute to sign me out after I hit live. So even if it went live, I couldn't possibly know. Are we going live now? I can't tell. Okay, yes, it is live. Okay, hold on. All right, we're getting there, chat. Promise. I'm so sorry. What a fucking shit show. Okay. Hello, everybody. What's up?
Hi.
I don't know if anyone could hear me. How much of that? Okay, people are saying we can hear
absolutely.
you.
They heard every word.
Okay,
every
great.
word.
Beautiful. Yeah, so the way my setup is every now and then, because I'm like an editor on the Lines channel, that's how I manage all these streams, it will like log me out. We have, because of the, we have an extra security system on the line, which involves me plugging something into my computer. And there's no room, so I had to like unplug my keyboard and plug in this key and plug that in and then log in. And it was, I can't believe, I'm sorry, it was a disaster. Anyway, hello everyone. This is the Transatlantic Call-In Show. This is where you get to call in and talk to two trans people about anything and everything trans related. So, you know, whether you're just a piece of shit who wants to tell us why we shouldn't have rights, or whether you are somebody else, we'll talk to you probably. No promises it's gonna be fun for you, because, you know, if you're an asshole, I will probably be an asshole right back. But
probably?
Definitely interested.
You'll probably be an asshole right back?
I've got a reputation.
When did this become a probably?
Listen, I go into every week being like, I'm feeling good and zen and it's gonna be great. And then a caller says something and I'm like, oh man, and that's gone. Now I just have to be like the parent in the situation, and that's really irritating. Okay, so we're live. Sorry, disaster here. Let's go. I'm Arden. This is Josie. Our lines are open. What's up, Josie?
Yeah. Hi, how are you? I could, as you just went to your rant. No, things are going well. As you know, I like doing this in the middle of my work day. Thank you, Jimmy and Arden, for making that the reality that I live through. But because I have a meeting right after this as well, as always. But no, things are all on fire. The bright spot of my day is that I get to talk to candidates that are thinking about running for office across the country. And yeah, so that was, so I had 2 of those calls today. So that was good. One that is definitely probably going to win, and one that's going to need some coaching. But other than that, we're gonna keep moving.
Right on. No, that's really cool. I honestly really admire the guts of any trans candidate who is wanting to get into the game now. I mean, it is what we need, undoubtedly, but like I complain about the burden of like so how spoiled my life is about the public being in front of people regularly and what that experience is like on this level. Being a trans politician in today's America, unmatched. Like the stones you have to have could not be me.
I mean, they're pretty amazing humans, I have to say. You know, especially when I get to talk to the current electeds and how they're moving up the rungs of power despite it all. It's just an act of defiance to stay in power, and they're continuing to do it and rocking it. Like, yeah, you know, I love my dear friend Beyond Tatone, who is the reason Colorado has a right to repair. Like, it's like, that's incredible. So it's just, it's a thing. It's a thing. So I do get to love that portion of my job for sure.
Yeah, that's good. I'm glad we have some positivity, which will kind of relate to our poll this week. However, before we consider any marginally positive feelings, we're going to talk about last week's poll, which is more focusing on the fire, because of course it is. So last week's poll was, do you think the trans military ban will compromise our national security? And at 9.4 thousand votes, this is honestly kind of what I expected the distribution to look like. 54% said yes, 46% said no. And from what I saw, a lot of the comments that were saying they're like not anti-trans, but we're saying I don't think it's going to compromise national security, were probably ones that I agree with a little bit. Like, don't get me wrong, there is a massive loss in what's happening. And like, I think you and Lux touched on last week, a lot of the people who are trans in the military are, going to be a certain type of specialization in a lot of cases, that it's not just, you can't just replace so easily. But whether or not it creates a national security crisis is another issue entirely. And it's despicable and wrong, but I'm not so sure I think that it amounts to a national security compromise, crisis, whatever. Anyway, Josie, save me. Am I off base?
Yeah, no. I mean, it will cause a short-term disruption in a lot of different things. So we'll lose people who have access to systems that understand these systems, especially if they do it very abruptly. That is where I get incredibly nervous of, like, we have translators that are trans, and they may be the only real qualified translator to speak, so therefore we could lose access to being able to hear and decode different messages from other nations. We have reactor operators, which is a job that I used to do, that are serving on submarines right now, and they're like one of two watchtanders, meaning that submarine's going to have to come back to shore and not be able to deploy. And there's a lot of mission critical things that happen there. There are so many positions like that. But what we do know about this administration so far is, like, the first woman commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, a few days after Trump got inaugurated, was kicked out of her home with 3 hours to pack, and removed from her post immediately, saying it was DEI that she was even there. So that's got to cause disruption, especially not having a full transition to the commandant of the lead officer of the entire Coast Guard. So it's like, I don't think they care. They just want to cause chaos, because chaos is a ladder. Quoting Littlefinger from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on with that. I think it's a thing I've seen a lot of commentators pointing out too, that, a lot of this could be completely uncontroversial if they have gone through like appropriate channels, so tried to work with Congress to achieve these things. And it's what's so concerning about it is it seems like such an unforced error, but it is just so overtly corrupt. And yeah, I don't know, but I feel so bad for, honestly, a lot of the Dem leadership. They're getting a lot of very well-deserved flack because, I mean, it has been pathetic and lazy, but I also understand that I don't know what the fuck they're supposed to do. And so when they're out here being like, I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to do, I'm like, man, that's messed up. When even the people who are the most plugged in, the most responsible, have no clue what levers are available to them to address it, man.
No, you know what? I don't. You're giving them way too much credit. Okay, now this is. I'm not in campaign mode, Josie. We're gonna get elected mode anymore. I am in very, like, slash them up type of Josie. The issue is that they do not. They if they don't know what to do in this crisis, then they should have never been elected in the first place, and they need to step down from leadership. If the moment they say, oh, I don't know, then get the hell out of there and move out of the way for somebody that does. Like, for example, when AOC was asked the same question that Hakeem Jeffries did, when Hakeem Jeffries was like, oh, well, what can we do? We have no leverage. AOC immediately said, in the same question was, Well, they have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency. So every mistake they own. So they're going to have to pass everything on their own, including budget bills, all the legislation. They're going to have to take it and own it and make sure that everybody in the country knows how to do it. That's how you turn the leverage against them. It's like now you have no one to blame, but now when you say, "Oh, we can't do anything," it makes it look like the Democrats are to blame for being weak. It's very, very clear, and they shouldn't be in leadership. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of their feckless leadership. I'm tired of their stupid chanting that they can't even get right. Like it's like I was thinking, and I'm going off. Like when I saw
I love it. I need it.
We will not rest. We will not. I was like, dude, you were probably in bed that night by 7 o'clock, sitting in your fancy ass bed in your fancy ass one of your houses, resting your ass and sleeping good at night because you have millions of dollars in your bank account. Like, I don't even want to hear it. Like, it's driving me absolutely bonkers about where the leadership is going right now, and nothing's changing. Nothing's changing with the Democrats. It's anyways,
every interview I've watched of Hakeem Jeffries has been like watching interviews of Kamala Harris on the election cycle, where it's like, dude, you are still like tied to this, like, you know, tested, like what are you calling them? Like your like political advisors have like fed you this line, and like you can't stray from it, and that's so concerning to me. That like, I mean, you know, and AOC losing the oversight committee position to this guy who, you know, while Nancy Mace is dropping T slurs, is like, I think maybe we should just try not to use slurs against people. Can't we consider decorum, please? And it's like, these people don't care about this. How is this the guy who got over AOC this position? That's crazy.
Yeah. It is bonkers. And you know what Hakeem Jeffrey said the other day that just boiled my blood? He was like, presidents come and go, but one God stays on the throne. I wanted to vomit. I was so angry.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, don't even bring that shit and shove that down my throat. No, I do not believe in your sky god. So therefore, there is no one steering when you say shit like that. Like, it's just like, oh, we'll just believe in the god sitting on the magical sky throne. I'm just like, it makes me so mad. Anyways.
Yep. All right, we do have calls on the line, so I want to get to those, but let's just read this week's poll really quick, and then I will drop that in the chat for you guys. And I realized there was an error here. I said, are you setting time for healthcare when it was supposed to be self-care when dealing with news of anti-trans executive actions? I'm going to put it in the chat as self-care because that's what I meant. But I know there's going to be so many comments of people being like, what do you mean? Are you going to pretend that you just can't even get normal healthcare now because of these? Like, I know that's what the comments are going to be.
What a typo. I was like, it was literally self-care, Arden.
It's so straightforward, but you know, listen, if I, this is why I am so frazzled today. I feel like I seem high. I swear to God, I'm not high. I am in like delusional hysteria, laughter at the absurdity of the world and our situation. That's where I'm at. So
yeah, you know, set a little healthcare aside as a little treat.
No, I'm sorry. Okay. We have callers. We're going to talk to some of those people. First, we are going to talk to Mila in Colorado. Her wants advice about content creation and how to create content that doesn't alienate trans allies. So that's interesting. Mila, you're live on the line with Arden and Josie. What's going on?
Hi, guys. Sorry, I'm trying to take you off speaker so there's not like a bunch of interference like last time.
Nice.
Well, so I've called in a few times to talk to you guys, and the reason why is because I've been wanting to go down the route of content creation, and you know, I'm not just calling to like, you know, like appreciate the smell of my own farts with people who agree with me, right? Like the kind of intention behind that is to, you know, kind of like test what my talking points, what my kind of arguments sound like, because in the past I've noticed that I tend to kind of like make trans people think that, I don't know, I'm not on their side, or that like I'm like I don't want to advocate in a way where people that are on my side, that people that I'm trying to support, are ultimately saying like, hey, this doesn't represent me, I don't agree with this is dangerous. And for me it's useful to get a perspective from someone who you know, I anticipate might have a certain reaction to what I'm saying. And I kind of wanted to ask for advice of how to kind of deal with the dilemma I tend to run into, which is that, like, you know, anti-trans people, gender critical people, they tend to agree with my reasoning and like love my reasoning, but they hate the conclusions I arrive at, typically because I'm logically consistent. And then trans people, like, they, you know, agree with me on every conclusion that I arrive at, but my reasoning and how I reach those conclusions tends to make them fear that I'm going to, you know, they don't love my reasoning. So, yeah, I wanted to hear your perspective.
Yeah. If I could I'll just start because, Josie, I don't know if you were here. I know a few weeks ago, Mila, you called in saying that you had a concern that sometimes people thought your arguments were trans medicalist. And you guys can go back and find that call. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I didn't think that they sounded that way at all. I would say my kind of few points of advice are, one, really the only way to iron out the best strategy is to just start doing it and to be making mistakes and to correct from those mistakes. It really is a kind of learn as you go art form, in my experience. Two, right. I think, you know, to the extent that, like, I appreciate the goal. Like, you don't want to come off as like trans medicalist or whatever. You want people to be involved in like what you're talking about. I think the best thing is to just kind of do what you feel like you do best, which seems like kind of similar to how we approach things here, which is taking, you know, an evidence-based thing. We bring up academic papers and things like that to cite our sources and to like kind of inform our positions. And that some people might read that as trans medicalist, but honestly, in my opinion, if somebody's doing that, I think they're being dishonest, and I don't really care about their criticism. But like, it's also always fair to just be like occasionally I tend to go through the comments, usually in the first few days after a video, and just kind of like soak up a general sentiment. 90% of the time, most of the comments are positive, and there's like a couple comments that are critical, and they're often like from a hardcore hater who is just totally a raging bigot, and so like their criticisms are also invalid. Like they're not offering anything substantive that they actually care about, right? They're just trying to be hateful. So I don't know. I think you kind of just, I've only in like the last like 6 to like months to a year probably started to thicken my skin to where I truly feel like I can handle the pressure of people's judgments 24/7. But I will say that is a mental burden that I think most people don't account for, and that I think is an adjustment for everyone who starts kind of doing this thing. The level of regular, public, detailed, thorough scrutiny of everything you say and do is overwhelming. But I don't know, Josie, do you have any thoughts on all that?
It's very personal.
For sure.
Yeah. One thing about, you know, I content creation is, if you start trying to create a conversation based on your hope for what your audience is going to want to hear, outside of like topic ideas, you are not being authentic, and you won't build an audience. Like even if you're going to have haters on all sides, and even internally in the community, no matter what you do or say, you just got to be authentic in how you say it. Bring the evidence, like Arden said, and just be who you are, and the audience will come. They will grow. They will be there. And so that's kind of where I've learned, is just be you, and then what you will be able to do is you'll be able to evolve in the way that you're to you via either comments or live, no matter how you do it. But yeah, I would just be factual, be yourself, and the audience will be there. It just takes time to build. Yeah, go ahead.
No, and I really appreciate the response. I may not have asked the question entirely accurately because I it's a great answer, but I think it's kind of answering a question that I'm not really asking, right? Like, because I know that like there are people that will that will be haters. There's people that will I know that there definitely is an audience I can find, and I think one of the things kind of working against me is like because I am also intersex, like I have two X chromosomes, and people tend to kind of dismiss a lot of what I have to say and say, well, she's an exception, like almost like, well, she can be trans because she has like a medical reason, right? Or she has like a like a female brain or something, right? And it's not so much that I'm asking like, how do I not like alienate like my trans audience? It's more so what I'm asking is like, how do I so let me like highlight like exactly the kind of dilemma that I'm having here, right? Is that like the core of kind of my argument is rooted in like a functional reclassification of biological sex and like the merit behind that. And that kind of makes it sound like I'm saying, oh, if you want to be accepted as a trans woman, then you have to align with like female biology, like medically, right? Where I guess what I'm really trying to say is that like, yes, there are like certain contexts where like biological alignment is important, but like I'm not saying that I think that like every social legal context, like biological sex alignment is necessary. Like, if you're playing chess and sports, like biological sex isn't relevant, right? Like if you're in a bathroom peeing, biological sex isn't relevant. So it kind of sounds like whenever I put so much emphasis on me saying like, hey, like there's a solid scientific case to be made here that like it's more accurate to have a fully transitioned trans woman in a variation of biological female category than a variation of biological male category. That suddenly I'm saying, oh, that trans inclusion is contingent on alignment with female biology, and the gender. I feel like my messaging can be really easily misconstrued into that. So I guess I'm more asking for direction of how do I like make that case without allowing people to kind of use my biological uniqueness or use my arguments to like validate a narrative that I'm deliberately trying to oppose.
I think, I mean, just kind of building off of what Josie was saying, I think you have to resist the urge to want to like pre-consider every objection and every consideration, even ones that maybe are like valid in some sense. I think that is going to perpetually inhibit you from actually just getting the message out in the first place and then kind of making the corrections where they're actually warranted. I think it's a mistake to get trapped in the like, oh, but what if like group X takes it in this way because of reason Y? And like, because like Josie was saying, I mean, you can spin that out endlessly and just there's a million ways that everyone can misinterpret everything. And if it can't be fixed with a simple like, oh, that's not what I meant, or oh, your counter argument is actually better, I should change my position, then it's probably not something that's too big of a deal if you get it a little bit wrong. I mean, I just want. Yeah, go ahead, Josie.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add to about the fact that I've had this dilemma and like when I was streaming regularly in the past of like when two trans people are in deep intellectual conversation in like on a live audience or a live stream, like and there's disagreements, people will start siding with the trans person to better fit their own narratives. I've seen that happen. There's been really big blow up debates between like content creators that are trans, and I'm like, oh no, don't do that, because now you know the meme with the two philosophers talking to each other, and it's like, and then the
Yeah.
person in the middle that's like a child. Like it's like that can happen, and it's like, you know, if you were to go on YouTube and start teaching like graduate level anything online without any like build up or growth to that point, then it will be like it'd be too advanced, right? Like if I started to talk about, for example, I use this as an example of a very advanced like trans idea topic about trans women and their their genitals, and the way that they view them. So, for example, women in general, regardless if you're cis or trans, are taught in society to be shameful of your like private parts. Like, you're supposed to have shame. You're not supposed to show them. You're not supposed to use them. Like, there's like this inherent shame that society and Puritan society has given to women of like, oh, you have to be quiet about it. You have to be private about it. And there's like that thing where like cis
Yeah,
women
your
won't even
periods
look
are
at
like,
their own. Yeah, right. Like it's the, you know, all of these things. But if you're a trans woman and you haven't had bottom surgery, there's like not only shame, there's also disgust on top of it. So it's like a double whammy for like trans people. And
yeah.
then like when you start talking about that, then you have to bring in trans misogyny and how that interacts with oppositional sexism. And now we're having a college level class about gender and sexuality that is going to go over the heads of a lot of people who are just walking into a YouTube video for the first time. So there has to be more of a buildup, because if I just started talking about that all of a sudden, a lot of people will be like, how did we get here? How did we get to trans misogynoir with the concept of body shaming of cis women through
That's a good
Puritan
point.
society? It's like, right, you have to start the building blocks. You have to start and build up, build up, build up. And then when you start getting to the points that you were talking about, that's going to be like one video or one episode that is going to eventually be covered up by other videos and other things that you do. It's just the nature of content creation. And then you're going to do a year later,
Yeah.
you're going to revisit that topic. So that's kind of the way that I would look at it, is you are the you know, conductor of your own channel, and it's your job to guide your audience to the point you want them to get without it being like an abrupt slap in the face, which is I think what you're talking about. Is like, if you just threw this argument out in the middle of nowhere, people be like, wow, this sounds a little trans medicalist, why did you go there immediately? But in reality, if they watch your content for a long time, it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense with the other narratives that you brought forward. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Like, I mean, could I give you like kind of an example that like of like one of my views, and just kind of hear like what your like what your interpretation of that is? Like, if that's me kind of like jumping straight into like, I don't know, like transsexuality, like 10,000 or something.
Yeah, right.
Like,
Go
okay,
ahead.
so like for instance, I would say that so this is like an opinion I have, that I'm like afraid, like, oh God, how is this gonna like sound? Like, who's like, is this gonna hurt people that I'm trying to help? Like, I would say that basically, like, for the same reason that, like, I would say a trans woman that doesn't medically transition to any extent, like, personally, I believe she's valid in her womanhood, like legal and social gender valid, all that. I would say though, like, it doesn't make sense to include her in the category of specifically a biological female, because that creates, and this is what gender critical people say, right? Is like, it creates too much variation within the category. And in that same vein, taking a fully transitioned trans woman and putting her in the category of biological male also creates, for the same reason, too much variation in the biological male category, because of the like objective changes in biological biological traits. Now, I'm not saying that like I think that, you know, if that, you know, completely unmedically transition, like doesn't take hormones, doesn't do any surgeries, like, you know, I don't think that trans woman belongs in a biological female category. That doesn't mean I think you have to be in a biological female category to be valid as a woman or to deserve inclusion in like feminism or like many contexts of like sex segregated spaces, right? Where like biological sex isn't like actually making a functional difference in like, or a relevant difference in the function of that space. But like in certain spaces, you know, it might be, and I don't know, I feel like now I'm already like kind of overcomplicating it. So,
I mean, it might be a little bit. So I think, Mila, I don't, this has been the case with like almost every call we've had. I don't necessarily disagree with anything that you're saying in essence. Like, I think the idea itself is fine. I can see where people might, you know, interpret it some kind of way or whatever. But to be honest, I feel like, again, I'm kind of repeating myself, but like, I genuinely think it's like a mistake to want to overcorrect for fear that you might hurt someone's feelings for not phrasing something the most perfect way. Definitely, if somebody gives you correction, was like, hey, what you said here was insensitive, you know, be honest and be like, oh, wow, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Or, you know, maybe I think you're wrong or like whatever. Like, personally, I think it is far better. It makes you a far more reliable content creator to watch if you aren't catering to and always adding caveats to thwart potential misinterpretations or dishonest ways of understanding something. Because like I've even done it on TACIS. Our audience has gotten mad at me a handful of times for things where I'm like, I don't want to be a part of audience capture. I don't want to be reporting ideas that I don't sincerely hold and don't think I could sincerely defend. If I don't have good reason for them. And so, you know, it might upset the audience that I disagree on issue X, Y, or Z. But personally, I would rather say the thing that I think is true and accurate, even if it hurts their feelings. That way we can come to some sort of understanding, get clarification on what each other means. I can understand their argument better, and I can help them understand why I don't accept their argument or whatever. Like, I think I appreciate where you're coming from, and I think it's, you know, the struggle of being an empathetic and humanist person who is also a skeptic, where you're like, sometimes the truth hurts people's feelings, and I don't want to do that. But also, I think it's better to, like, there's a level of, you know, honing your rhetoric to convey your message as like effectively as possible. That is totally valid. But I don't, it shouldn't be this whole like, oh, what if, you know, people think I'm transmedicalist or think that what I said was mean in a certain way or think that I'm focusing on biology. Maybe you are focusing on biology because maybe that's where your specialty is, and maybe that's okay. And it doesn't necessarily mean that what you're saying is invalidating trans people's identities. And if they make a valid case for a way to communicate your idea that doesn't have the same plot holes that you feel like works for you, then you can adopt that. But yeah, I don't think it's worth, it's not worth like sitting here toiling over like, you know, all the ways that could possibly be misinterpreted to convey your idea. I really think it's better to just kind of ship it, like record the video, put it out there, and, you know, rely on your expertise and let it be. And that if people get mad, then you can like evaluate how legitimate their concerns are or aren't.
Yeah, and
that's very good advice.
And I just want to add as well is you, like, even if you look at the chat right here, like you already are getting a lot of really great feedback. Like people are like, biological, why biological, and da 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 da. So it sounds like in that conversation that you just had with us about biology, and I don't want to get into the semantics of what you were saying, is that the triggering language is the biological woman, the biological blah blah blah. And what you got to do is you got to start the video with a deep analysis of what biologically means to you. and
Mhm.
redefine and define what that parameter is, and then you're creating the boundaries of what the topic in the discussion is. So if you're saying, okay, in this thought analysis, and this is really all it is, it's a philosophical thought analysis of what biologically means for this particular topic, and what you see as the biological internal functions of what estrogen does to the human body, and how this interacts with the biology of blah 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 blah. If you start with what biology is and create the boundaries of the conversation, and say this is what the bounds are, and this is why I'm saying this, and this is why I'm doing it, I think that is where you're going to be able to make the most traction. Because if you just go in and say biological blah 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 without saying what biological means to you, then yes, you're leaving it open to interpretation for the people that are watching it. It's just like any other type of argument or debate topic or tactics. You have to define the words that you're using very clearly before you expound on your argument as a whole. The definitions matter.
Right.
And I think that's where I think if you want to add more clarity to the words that you're saying, define it clearly with evidence and show the audience what you mean by that, and then you start playing the categorization game of like, okay, this is what this means over here, and this is what this means over here, and biology doesn't mean cis, and blah 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 blah. You can just start talking about many different things. And so I would go from there, and I agree with Arden. Ship it, like do it, like, have the conversation.
Yeah.
And if you are like, I don't know how this lands, have some trans people or people in the community that watch it before you do it, and they say, oh well, da 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 da. That's just how it's gonna have to go. But
Don't let the cringe make you stop. Content creation just is cringe. It's just a fact. It is mega cringe, and sometimes you say stupid shit that lives on the internet forever, and now that's just there. And there's no escaping cringe anymore. That is the time of being able to leave your cringy past, and the past is over. So just accept the cringe and roll with it.
No, to be cringe is to be free, and it's definitely like my fear of being cringe that like makes my quality control inspector in my brain. Like, I mean, it's good to an extent because it helps me like anticipate counter arguments when I'm crafting mine, but it also like can overcorrect and like make me like say like 10,000 things to get like one point across, and like have like 10,000 caveats, and it's really good advice to be aware of that. So I appreciate you like directing my awareness to it. So thank you so much. And I appreciate all of your advice.
Yeah, best of luck, and send me your stuff when you get something out there. I would love to check it out.
Thank you. I definitely will.
Cool. All right. Have a good day, Mila. Bye.
Of course. Bye, guys.
All right. I'm almost thinking about closing the lines. We've got like a spicy call, maybe 2 in the queue. We've got 5 lines. I think there's enough callers here to last us quite a good long show.
Yeah, I think so. You want to go over the poll before we jump into the next call?
Yeah, let's do the poll really quick. Remember to hit like and subscribe, you guys. That stuff really helps the channel big time. Also, there will be merch tagged on the merch shelf. Click that. Any of these engagements help the channel, and they're totally free. So, but to check out this poll really quick. Okay, so, God damn it. I can't believe I mistyped so hard. So it says, are you setting time for healthcare when dealing with the news of anti-trans executive actions? It's supposed to be self-care. And like I expected, this was kind of a softball one, you guys. This one wasn't meant to be deep. 55% said yes and 45% said no. So I would love to know from some of you who are saying yes in the chat, while we're sitting here talking about it, tell us some of the things you're doing to help yourselves kind of take your mental break. I know I picked up reading a fantasy novel again, which I haven't read anything for fun in ages. And it's been...
Which one?
I'm reading A Court of Thorns and Roses, Sarah J. Maas or Moss or whatever. I know it's really big. Everyone's read it, and I don't want any spoilers, so I'm trying to be careful. I am almost through the first book.
I see.
But yeah, it's really fun. It's a nice way to, like, while I'm doing other things around the house, to kind of like give my brain a break. I also been watching Adventure Time. I've been rewatching Adventure Time because that's all. This all good feelings. There's
It's all
no.
cozy.
It's all cozy. You can't pop my bubble when I'm watching Adventure Time. So, Josie, how about you?
Yeah. So board game nights, I'm trying to get my D&D crew together at my
Yes.
house. Yeah, so and actually I started doing Pilates. Or I
Ooh,
actually
I
am about
love
to
that for
start
you.
Pilates. Yeah, so it's like after all the surgeries and everything, I'm like totally out of shape, so I want to rebuild my core.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I'm like I want to get that like the nice dancer body. I'm very wafy. If you see me in person, I'm like tall, but I have long limbs, so it's kind of like I might as well just tone it up, making it look nice and sleek.
We need to be in battle mode for the coming
I know we
future.
do. Yes, yes, exactly, and yeah. So that's it. I guess I'll be a battle princess.
Yep. I mean, hey, listen, I think it's cool as fuck. I wish I cared more about fitness. I would love to be like jacked and to be like, let me just do push-ups and stuff, but I can't. I am also I don't know if I would call myself wayfish, but that's pretty close. Clumsy, oriented, ADHD.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what I would say. Yeah, I mean, I see somebody said Adventure Time makes me miss my ukulele. Um,
Yeah.
we're saying I wish I had D&D crew, D&D once a week. So a lot of people are doing the games and stuff. I think that's really good. It's nice to like Parks. One of those things where we preach community and the importance of that to survive this. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I am so good and that my network is just like on point, feeling so communitied. No, but I mean, it is really important. And I think things like D&D are a really good way to like have everyone bond and regularly be interacting, It's so
And you
easy and
escape in a
safe.
fantasy world. You
Yeah,
just
and pure
escape in a fantasy
escapism.
world.
That's
Yeah, it's
wonderful.
super great. Yeah, yeah.
So
So it's
I
good stuff.
realize this is kind of weak sauce. I mean, we're not like getting into a deep topic, but I don't know. I just kind of wanted. Somebody said mountain biking, starting yoga,
Yeah,
roller skating. See, I like this stuff. Tell me about the things that are making you guys feel happy because we need some
we
happiness
need it.
in the
Need
chat.
it so much.
Um,
Yes.
Alrighty,
All
so we're
right.
gonna take our next calls, and then we're gonna do some announcements. Yeah, who do we got next on the line? Uh,
Um.
oh, let's talk to Skeptoidius in Wisconsin. Sounds good.
Okay.
Skeptoidius, you are live on the line with Arden and Josie. How you doing?
Arden, what's going
Hey.
on? Josie, how you doing?
Yes.
Living the best
How are
life.
you?
What's up?
I am fantastic.
It's a super chat come to life.
Kind of. Yeah, right.
This is good. Your energy is contagious. Love it.
Yes.
Go for it.
I will bring it up a few more notches then. So I sent that super chat in. I think it was a month ago about having a meeting with my governor, and I came up with a list of questions. I got 5 questions so far. The very first question was the question that you wanted me to ask, Josie, was ask the governor if there is a military ban on trans people in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
And I got 4 other questions besides that. And I wanted to know what you guys thought.
The specific question too, I think will be better is the trans military ban and for Wisconsin people who are leaving the military because of that. It's like, how are we going to extend benefits out to those folks? So are we going to increase unemployment insurance for these folks? Are we going to try to get them enrolled in some form of like service that the state of Wisconsin has? So that's kind of the ethos of what I'm trying to say with that one. But go on.
Oh, okay. I will edit that question then. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I have 4 other questions, and I wanted to know what you guys thought of them, and I also wanted to know if you guys had any other questions that I should ask.
Well, how about you read us your questions first, so I don't preemptively recommend ones you've already gotten.
Okay. The second one is ask if trans people will still be able to receive proper medical care. Third one is ask if trans people will be protected from discrimination. And I have ask if trans people will be allowed to use the bathroom that aligns with their gender. And the fifth one is ask when the trans panic defense will no longer be viable. Well, when it's finally going to be stricken from law.
Yeah, I think I would
So
also
Wisconsin
add.
still has a trans panic defense.
Yeah, they've tried to get rid of it twice. We've actually tried to get rid of it twice, but because we're blue and we're blue only in like the highest branches of government. Wisconsin's mostly red.
Right.
The conservatives completely refuse to just refuse to vote on it.
Got it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Arden.
Well, I had a question, but honestly, I forgot, and it's totally okay. So if you have something, go for it.
No, I think what is a good one is, who are you consulting with for trans advice and trans issues? Do you have someone on your senior leadership team? Do you have somebody that's advising you on trans things? I think is an important one. Or if you do, you can give them resources to, like the Advocates for Trans Equality, for example. They have state policy teams that are able to advise on things like that. I think it's important to know who the governor is talking to when it comes to trans issues.
All right, I just wrote that one down. Thank you.
Yeah. Arden, did you think of yours?
No. Oh, yeah. Actually, now I have. I mean, you could ask if there's any like movement towards getting a version of the Equality Act put through the Wisconsin Constitution, because I know, like, pretty sure New York and Rhode Island voted on that in the past election. So I know there are some states that are moving to, in light of things, try to secure their own versions of the Equality Act, basically. So, at least within the state, there's a protection from discrimination, like, on the books. I think that's kind of an iteration, maybe, of one of your questions already, but just maybe like a specific kind of direction for it.
And a big one. This is a big one. You ready? This is the one that I want you to smack them with. Are you going to veto any anti-trans? Are you going to veto any anti-trans legislation that crosses your desk?
Oh, that's wonderful, because he's actually already doing that. He's actually done that, I think, 3 or 4 times.
Well, say, will you continue to do so? Get that yes/no question now. Like, it's like, yes, no. Will you continue to veto anti-trans legislation to defend trans people in the state of Wisconsin?
Even if Trump has a conviction over your head, like he does Eric Adams.
Well, I mean, to be completely honest, Trump can suck the stinkiest fart out of my ass, so.
I hope he does. Whatever's bad for him.
You know what?
Unless he likes it, then I hope he doesn't.
Oh, God. I hope he makes LDL great again.
LDL?
Yeah. Cholesterol. LDL is a bad cholesterol. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, LDL is a bad cholesterol, so I hope he makes that great again.
Well, all of our everything's gonna go bad. The food's gonna go bad. The healthcare is gonna go bad. It's all gonna go bad. So
yeah, I read the bad news today.
I have not, and I've been intentionally trying to keep away from news because it's killing me every time. Every headline, I'm like, "Oh, cool, nuclear holocaust." When?
Well, do you want to hear it?
Sure, give it to us, Skeptoidius.
Okay, RFK was appointed as the head of the Health Services Department. Mr. Frickin' Anti-Vaxxer RFK is now the official head of the Health and Human Services Department. Fuck me running.
I can't say anything because I don't want to get put on a list. So
We're already on a list. What are you talking about?
I don't want to get put to any more lists.
You're in Texas, so you're on several.
I'm gonna get moved to the worst list if I talk. So I can't. I gotta keep my mouth shut.
It's okay. We'll be on the worst list together, Arden.
Yeah,
great.
It's pretty bad.
We can be roomies. We can be roomies in the camp they send us to.
You guys are so awesome. Fucking love you guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate it. Hopefully you're able to continue loving us for many years to come, and like we don't get put in jail for doing this YouTube show. But anyway, Skeptalk, if there's anything else you want to add, I don't know if I have any other specific things. I think Josie
I don't either.
Covered it.
Nope, really nothing more to add. Just wanted to let you guys know that I've also, on top of trying to meet with the governor, I honestly think his scheduler's ignoring my email, so I have to find the number to actually call them. But on top of doing that, I've actually filed 3 separate injunctions every single time fucking Nectarine Nero decides to put an executive order against trans people. Bam! Injunction, motherfucker. Look at that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you.
You should contact
going so hard.
You should contact the Advocates for Trans Equality, because we have a legal team that may be able to help you with that as well.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it called?
Advocates for Trans Equality.
Advocates for Trans Equality. I am going to write that down.
Yeah.
And I'm going to look it up.
We have a really great legal team. Yeah. So, cool. Great. Well, thank you so much, Skeptalk. It's nice to chat with you.
Nice to chat with you as well.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Bye. I'll see you in the chat.
All right. Real quick, let me run through announcements for you guys. I want to remind you again, hit like and subscribe. All of that stuff helps the channel big time. And it only seems to happen when we say it out loud. So hit like, hit subscribe. If you're watching right now and you haven't done it yet, what are you doing? Why are you leaving us hanging? Do you want trans people to suffer? So you're basically saying you want trans people to suffer is what you're saying.
That's what that means.
Terrible,
exactly
terrible people if you don't hit like and subscribe. Anyway, coming up this weekend on our numerous shows, we've got this Sunday show's early one with Matt and Seth. Forrest will be hosting the late show, and I don't know that we have a second guest for that show yet. Skeptalk looks like it's unscheduled so far. We're doing great here at the line. Next Tuesday, though, will be Eve and Alyssa on Chewed Gum. It should be Matt and Ian Harris back for the Hang Up next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Central Time. And then back here at 2 p.m. Central Time next Thursday will be myself and Lexander for TACIS. So that is your...
Tell Forrest.
Your forecast. Tell Forrest what?
That if he wants, if he still needs a guest, I'll join him on Sunday.
Okay. I will let him know.
That means we'll be going until the morning. So it's like
not
Forrest
if I'm producing, and I usually produce the after show. I will be.
There you go. So
the mean
be
boss.
ready for a 2 a.m. like in the morning type show with Forrest and Josie. So
all right. We have a bunch of other callers, and I want to take this call next. I will see how this goes. I know this person has called a handful of times, although it's not giving us a call history, so maybe it's just a coincidental name, but we've got Jacob in Tennessee. But yeah, no, it says from a previous conversation, looked up some sources on trans youth and want to discuss studies. So, Jacob, you are live on TACIS with Arden and Josie. Yeah. What are we getting into?
Jacob, I remember we had a really good call last time, so let's keep it going.
Yeah, me and Josie had a really good call last time. And I mean, we haven't had bad calls, except for a couple times. I did get called a bigot a couple times, I will say that. That wasn't fun.
Pretty sure I said you have a bias against trans people.
Yeah, I don't.
You do. It's not the same as being called a bigot. It's just a bias.
That's true. Yeah.
No, Matt,
it's okay that you misinterpreted it. It's all right. Go for it. What's your question?
Anyways, Jacob, how are you?
Good. I don't know if Buffy, you know this, but the reason that brought me into talking about this was I have a niece who is starting to express what they want to be called they, them, and dressing as a boy, and we're kind of thinking it's heading in towards her becoming a trans boy, and so I started looking into all this, and this is just a preference to the audience. I started looking into this, started reading different sources and stuff, and kind of got conflicting results. And I came on here, and I got kind of reassured, and I was told, well, that's not happening, blah, 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 you know, don't worry about it, you know, the science is sound. And the only reason I wanted to come on here is because, you know, I kept digging, and I actually reached out to the health minister of Sweden, and I actually get a hold of them. It's a neurologist's name. I don't want to look at the email right now, but because I'm afraid I don't want to mess with my phone while I'm talking to you guys. But I got received an email back from them about a press release they put out, and the only reason I bring this up is because I'm assuming that people want knowledge, and that, you know, your community cares about, you know, what's best for trans kids and what the appropriate way to approach them is, appropriate way to approach medical care, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place where I think, you know, that knowledge is king, and that, you know, the more knowledge we have, the better.
Just get to it, Jacob. So, I get it. You've got.
What is it? Yeah.
Yes, you're doing a good job building your cred. Now, what are you actually bringing?
What is the question? Yes.
Why? So I contacted him, and this is just about the sources. So I told to dig to the sources, and I went back and, like I said, I talked to that guy, and I found out Sweden's policy. So I talked to him originally because I was told that this wasn't their policy, and I found out that the policy is actually correct. So I was correct in the policy. The policy.
Are you talking about the Swedish protocol? What policy, Jacob? What are you talking about?
This is the problem.
Are you talking about the Swedish protocol?
So in 2023, or sorry, in 2022, they switched the protocol to they don't allow surgeries are off the table completely, and they switched the protocol. There's no for trans youth. They do therapy, and they don't do puberty blockers. They do. They
do, but they do it on a research basis. Like, you have to be a part of a research study.
Yes, it's restricted from the general public. The general public is no longer allowed to have it. And also, that they came out and they stated that they believe at this time that there is more risk than benefit.
Cool. What are the specific risks?
Yeah.
It's detailed in the paper. The specific risk is basically not knowing the outcomes. And not knowing the outcome is not a valid risk. Because you could say that about literally every unknown outcome for every medical intervention ever. That is not a valid risk concern. He didn't explain to me the risks.
Okay. So Jacob. So Jacob, I want to back up here a second, okay? So you're talking about Sweden, and you know, I'm kind of an America First gal. Joking, but no, seriously though, I really do believe in our medical institutions in America that have a reputation of being one of the best medical institutions in the world. And would you agree with that, Jacob? Or do you think Sweden's medical institutions are better than America's?
They're ranked higher globally.
Sweden is?
Yeah.
On what metric? Are you talking
about? Yeah, on what metric? Health outcomes or by science or medical research? Because the reason Sweden's health outcomes are better is because they have universal health care.
I have to look into it. So you don't actually have anything there. You just said something out of your ass that you actually have no basis for.
No, I have a list. I have a list and I have the criteria. I can look it up if you want me to while we're talking.
But Jacob, I do know some of this stuff, but you can look it up while I speak. So the reality is, like, Sweden does have more higher life expectancy. They have a lot of things, but they also have universal health care, so people don't have to go into debt to get medical care. And a lot of people, that's actually a great thing. So, like, that's something that's great about Sweden, is that they actually care about their citizens and don't put them into debt for getting sick. The thing, though, however, is that we know through the like European models and how we're looking at how politics is starting to swing, especially when it comes to this issue, that a lot of the politics are starting to swing the other direction in Europe, outside of the actual medical evidence that we already have. And we have a deep body of medical evidence that shows clinically across the world, not just in Sweden, but across the world, that shows that if you give people access to transitional healthcare, that their quality of life is much better. They have better health outcomes, better mental health outcomes. They have all of these different outcomes. And we also know that the regret rates are, less than 1%. More people regret pregnancy than they do regret transitions. So it's like, we look at all of these things. Like, for example, that there's a lot of unknown risk that happens when a person gets pregnant. So, for example, a person that gets pregnant has an unknown risk of doing so because sometimes they've never been pregnant before, but they take that risk anyway. Should we stop pregnancy because there are unknown risks involved in pregnancy?
No, I mean, that's not, but that's something that's innate in human activity. That's not, you can't really get
Okay, let's move to something else though. Then remove the part. He's asking you a valid hypothetical, and I need you to answer that hypothetical honestly. So remove the innate part of human experience. Any medication where we don't know every perceivable risk, what is the outcome? Or like, are you objecting to medicine based on unforeseeable risk? Or are you objecting to this specific medicine?
I'm objecting to risk outweighing the benefits.
So cancer treatment.
What the shift is.
So like for example, a lot of cancer treatments have lower risk than 50% to save somebody's life. In fact, some cancer treatments actually make cancer worse and make people's bodies weaker, and therefore they submit to cancer faster if the cancer treatment doesn't work. Should we just stop cancer treatment because of the risk of somebody dying from the treatment that they're receiving that could possibly save their lives?
If the risks outweigh the benefits, then I don't really see much of the point. That would be a net benefit to society.
Right, and you don't have risks. You're not pointing to risks. You're pointing to an absence of knowledge about potential risks. You're not even pointing to like... No, stop. No. You're not even pointing to... Oh my God, Jacob, this is why I can't handle these conversations with you. You're not even pointing to... I'm going to mute you because it's clearly a problem. And I realize there's a delay and it's not completely your fault. Regardless. You're not even pointing to, when trans people take this care, element X about their life gets worse and reliably. And so we know it's the fault of the medication, or there is, we know about the bone density risks and the brain development risks if you go against the guidelines of use for puberty blockers, which no doctor should be doing. But if you misuse them, sure, we know about those risks. Those are things that are considered. You were saying that the risk is that we don't know the potential risk. You actually said that to me. So if you mean something else and you want to amend it, I open the floor to you to do that. You're unmuted.
I don't know them. I said the study, so what I'm talking about is a outline from the health ministry from Sweden, and it goes through everything, and it says that the risks currently outweigh the benefits. He doesn't go into details of what he thinks the risks are. He just says,
man, that's convenient for you and your narrative that you're determined to fulfill in spite of whatever evidence you're presented.
Well, I just want to jump in really quick, Jacob. I just want to jump in, Jacob. I want to jump in. Like, we can find this about anything. Like in reality, you can find any doctor. Like, you literally had to go to Sweden to figure out, actually ask a Swedish person their opinion on this topic, when we have 99% of doctors across this country, part of medical institutions and associations, will contradict this and say the exact opposite. Why do you have to go all the way to Sweden to listen to this and not the American doctors and the American associations that say this is a benefit?
I've got many American sources as well. The largest children's hospital in the United States doesn't do this. Vanderbilt Medical Hospital, which is the largest.
But that has nothing to do with the medical efficacy. That has to do with the politics. I'm on speaker.
Well, that would be a conspiracy, and I don't believe in that.
Oh, shut the fuck up. Yeah, first of all, you have to take us off speakerphone because we're getting feedback.
We're getting feedback.
Okay. Let me go grab my headphones. Here. My iPad.
So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna mute Jacob while he sorts that out. I'm gonna be honest, Josie. If you want to continue talking to Jacob, I'm happy to allow that, and I'm happy to bow out. I have no interest in talking to Jacob. Jacob has repeatedly called in, like 6 or 7 times, about the Swedish protocol. So far that he went and called the health minister of the Swedish protocol and then said that we told him that's not happening, which is not true. The Swedish protocol is happening. We pointed out that they don't present any evidence of harm as a result of gender affirming care. They simply state, as Jacob affirmed early on in the call, that they don't know about the potential bad outcomes that could come down the road. We've gone over this several times, and Jacob has heard it several times. Jacob is exactly like I said, intent on, he has a conclusion, and he is doing everything in his power to work backwards. I don't care to talk to Jacob. He's dishonest. And it is literally, that is what a bias is. He holds this standard for trans people in our medical care, but not for medical care broadly. It is a anti-trans bias, literally speaking, in every conceivable sense of the word. So if you want to talk to him, I'll unmute him now, but I have no interest in ever speaking to Jacob again.
All right. Give me a few minutes. Hey, Jacob, are you there?
And don't cry about it, Jacob.
I'm here.
Okay. So, I just want to say this. Because when we look at the way that we look at science and the body of medicine and clinics and things like that, like, there are people who are way smarter than all of us on this call right now that are doing this work and are doing studies, doing long-term studies that are actually out there making sure that people's health outcomes are getting how people's health outcomes are better. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay, so in this situation where you're talking about Sweden and the way that they're doing things in Europe versus the way that we're doing things in America, like when we're looking at health outcomes, and I'm going to use the body of evidence that I have that is just clear and has deep factual basis, says that health outcomes for trans people go up significantly when given access to transitional healthcare. And you are disagreeing on the basis of Sweden. Is that where I'm getting?
Well, it's not just Sweden. I've got a list of tons of references from the U.S., the Pediatric Society of Europe, Denmark, Finland. Jacob, I got tons of sources.
All right. So you're saying because there's a contradiction in care, that we shouldn't provide the care.
Exactly.
Is that what your conclusion is? So we shouldn't provide the care because there's a contradiction in care.
No, my topic, the reason I called back was because I was told one thing and I found another. And another thing I called in to talk about was because of my main thing was surgical procedures on minors. That was my main thing.
Okay. So Jacob,
can I tell you what I found?
What did you? First, let's back up. We know that Sweden, and most likely, and I haven't done deep research, but we know that Sweden does transitional healthcare for minors in a clinical study research setting. We know that is still happening, right? That is true.
Yes, because there's currently not one long-term study.
Yeah, if you were a stupid, dishonest dickhead about what long-term study means, correct?
Yeah, but the thing is
if
like,
you want to present one.
Okay, my lived experience, other people's lived experience. I know a lot of trans kids that are still trans and thriving. Like, what? Like, I can use my eyeballs, right?
There are
like,
also
Jacob,
several follow-up studies that go up to like 8 years. Like the complaint from the CAS review was that there weren't studies that went longer than 8 years because that's where the regret really starts, is after the 8-year follow-up studies.
So Jacob, like,
that would line with the gender non-contentness, where gender non-contentness stops at 24.
We've talked about
gender non-contentness about 5%.
We've talked about that one.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. We've already talked to him about all of this. That's why I mean, like, he's not.
We did. Yeah. So this is what I'm trying to get. I promise, Arden, I'm getting somewhere. Okay. So when we are talking about transition related healthcare, you're talking about surgical care, and we already know that surgical care has happened. We've talked about this before in the last call, that surgical care, there's less than like, I think 100 different surgeries that happen. Most of them are top surgery a year. Like we know, or like 1,000 a year, like, and most of them are top surgeries and very few are bottom surgeries and all of that type of stuff. But my biggest contention with you, Jacob, and I'm not even talking about the actual trans stuff right now. I'm just talking about medical science to medical science. So when we have contradictions in what the pursuit of like medical efficacy and trying to get different things done, what I'm trying to get to is you seem to hold a higher standard for trans care than you do for cancer treatments. There is a logical inconsistency there. So you think that we should just cancel most cancer treatments?
I must have missaid something.
Well, no. So my answer is this. There is a lot of studies out there that contradict a lot of cancer treatments that are actually more harmful for a lot of people, but does save some people's lives at the same time. So because there's a contradiction in data that shows that there's more harm than good for certain things, and certain cancer treatments, there's more harm than good for a lot of people, but they still take that risk because it's their only hope for survival. Should we stop giving that person that option for that chance to live?
No, no.
Okay,
not in the case of
great.
cancer.
All right, great. So why do you hold that differently for trans care?
Because you have a large conflict of data from the
you have the
countries
same
with the
conflict
highest
with cancer
healthcare.
You still have
I
that
haven't looked into that, and
treatment as well.
if the case was
Jacob,
they are.
that's not. All right, Jacob, hold on. We have to be intellectually honest in this conversation. You are saying a lot of things to me, and I'm continuing to have that conversation with you, and I'm basing it on the idea that you are looking into this. Would you not say that I am looking into this? Why do I have to give you the benefit of the doubt that you've looked into this, and I continue to move this conversation forward? But when I look into something and you haven't, you don't give me the same benefit of the doubt to make sure that this conversation stays intellectually honest.
I'm not saying that's not intellectually honest. I'm just saying that if somebody's terminal, that's totally different. That's just like in a whole other world to me.
So if a trans kid is terminally like, so if a trans kid is like suicidal and will not receive the care and they take their own lives, isn't that a form of terminal? That their gender dysphoria is terminal to the point where they cease to want to live?
Yes, and they've had much success in Europe with therapies.
No, they haven't.
Basically support dressing as the other gender.
Jacob,
support
that's
mental therapy.
Not true. Jacob,
that
is not true.
It is true.
We know that conversion therapy doesn't work and actually can cause trauma.
I'm not talking about conversion therapy.
That's what therapy is, to not give people.
No.
And what are you talking about? What therapy are you talking about? Then what is the cessation of gender dysphoria? Because gender dysphoria doesn't go away with therapy.
I read a study from Switzerland, right, from what they've been doing since 2022.
And I read a story, and I read a study from the United States. So where in the like outside of these one-off studies, I have much bigger data sets that will tell you that you cannot mentally give somebody psychological care out of gender dysphoria. Do you think that there's a cure for gender dysphoria outside of transitional healthcare? Is that what you're saying?
No. I think that the gender. I read the DSM-5 criteria for evaluating this, and they don't mention any time frame. So no, I don't believe that. I believe that the therapy informs them as they get older, and as they do therapy, they're allowed to dress as the other sex, present as the other sex, do anything they want in terms of that. And the therapy is about helping them deal with the gender dysphoria and their feelings regarding that. And Switzerland has had really good results with that. They published their results. There's a really good study on it. And there's also other studies.
So they can transition.
I've got a list of probably 30 references.
And that's fine, Jacob. But what I'm telling you right now, and I'll cut this conversation soon. What I'm telling you now is that we know through medical study that no one can be cured of gender dysphoria, even when they're younger, but just through mental therapy. What you just said was,
that's not what
oh
it's
yeah,
about.
gender dysphoria is alleviated when you give them transition-related healthcare, which is social transition
that's
as
not what
well.
it's about.
Social transition is part of gender dysphoria healthcare. You know that, right?
Yes, and that's what
You
they
know
that's what they allow.
So
They
they
allow that?
allow gender affirming care. So they allow gender affirming care.
Yes.
Okay, so when you allow gender
terms of
affirming care,
therapy.
what happens? What happens in
They
gender
give them
affirming
therapy
care?
and they allow them to present as they wish, along with multiple other things.
And sometimes that care also includes hormone therapy, even in Sweden, because they allow it, like we talked about already. So
Not for
that
the general
includes
public.
gender but we are already talking about clinical research, because that's the only way these psychology studies are happening, because in Sweden, that's the way they allow it. So in this case, you are specifically talking about people who are receiving gender affirming care. You're not talking about the general public, because you just said that it's not happening in the general public. And what we know is that when people don't receive gender affirming care, that their high risk of suicidality goes up. So even in Sweden, you can't give somebody therapy on gender affirming care because it's not allowed for the general public, which is what you're saying. So the studies that you are citing is basically a selected sample, of people who are receiving gender affirming care have better health outcomes. That's what you're saying. We already know that, Jacob.
Yes.
We know that if you give people therapy, you give people access to healthcare, you give people access to social transition, you give people access to name changes, that their health outcomes go up. I know. So why are you saying that it's not allowed in the general public? So why are you saying it's not allowed in the general public, even though that when these people who are patients who are clinically receiving this healthcare are disproving what you're saying?
No, that is allowed in the general public. What's not allowed in the general public is the hormones and the puberty blockers or surgical interventions.
Okay,
Gender
I
affirming
think we're
care
just talking past
of
each
any
other,
form
Jacob.
other than puberty blockers and
not even talking past each other. Jacob does not know what he's talking about with regard to medicine ever. It's so annoying. This is why I don't like talking to Jacob. I almost didn't take this call, but 30 references. Wow, yeah. Jacob. Okay, Jacob, actually shut the fuck up. You're going to talk when I ask you a question, and that's it for the rest of this call. Got it? Great. So, why should anyone care about your 30 sources versus the, summary position of medical organizations in the United States?
Well, because this information has been suppressed online, it took me 6 months to uncover it.
Oh, did you tell me you were not a conspiracy theorist earlier? So you're asserting that all of the relevant experts don't have the real information, but you do. You found the real information that was suppressed. Yeah, you're a fucking conspiracy theorist with an anti-trans bias, Jacob. I don't care to ever speak to you again. You are detached from reality, and it's pathetic, and you need to stop thinking about this topic. I mourn for your niece, your nephew, actually. If they've watched this, if you've showed this at all to them, I hope that they know that you're a piece of shit and that they should never take anything you have to say seriously. And you're gone.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Don't call back.
If
you are like Jacob,
you were right,
and I haven't yelled at you yet, you can call in and get on my shit list next. Totally welcome for it. Add a new person to my shit list, but Jacob's gone.
Yeah, thank you, Arden, because it's again, it became this but, and it's like, look, it doesn't even understand how this study is being implemented. Has no idea that gender affirming care, what it is.
Facts. I'm not talking. They had good results. What kind of good results? What was the sample? Where did they collect this data? When is the data from? There were risks. What were the risks? Well, they were that we don't know the risks.
Arden,
nothing. He's devoid of information.
but they got good results when they received actual gender affirming treatment for psychological care, because if it wasn't conversion therapy, it was gender affirming therapy. That's what it was. And it's like, wow, what a big revelation that gender affirming therapy actually helps people that are suffering with gender dysphoria.
Well,
what we've been saying the whole time.
I suspect that there was a bit of a you're talking past each other thing there, in that I think they often do a watchful waiting approach with therapy there, which is essentially conversion therapy. But because it's packaged in a way that's not conversion therapy, Jacob probably misunderstood and was like, oh, it's therapy. It's just like, how do you feel, right? Let them wear their clothes, right? I mean, listen, I don't know for sure about that. And it's totally besides the point. I just can't talk to Jacob.
That he actually reached out to Sweden's freaking health minister, and they responded, probably with a form letter, but they responded. It's like one of those things. It's like, wow. It's like, just fucking like, and and the thing is, it's like, I know Jacob's a conservative too, and it's like, why don't you just believe in America? Oh, wait, because America doctors are probably too woke to understand. So I'm going to go to a woker country with medical freaking healthcare for everybody.
That used to be his argument. That was what he used to say, that they were a true leftist organization, so they're more progressive, except he doesn't recognize the fact that in Sweden, they had mandatory sex changes for documents for way longer than the US did, which is essentially forcibly sterilizing trans people, right? If you don't have a say in the requirements for your documents, that puts a lot of people in a situation where they're maybe getting surgery who they wouldn't necessarily have wanted to, which is what creates more of like those regret scenarios. Yeah, he is determined to hold on to Sweden as this, like, the true progressives they hate trans people like I do, is basically his essential his argument.
Yeah.
And no, he's a fucking clown. He doesn't understand anything about medicine. He's hooked onto this one thing because it's the one thing that totally validates his worldview. And he doesn't understand. Again, he came in saying that we told him this wasn't happening. Nobody's ever said that it wasn't happening. We said that it wasn't a study, it was a protocol. And then he was talking about how originally I came in talking about the surgeries and shit. And like just a few weeks ago, we covered the Journal of the American Medical Association and how they did a review of, in 2019, how many minors with transgender diagnosis got gender affirming surgeries. And it was 2.1 per 100,000 minors. That is a fraction of a percent who probably, the fact that it's so limited almost exclusively indicates that they are going through extensive levels of review to be one of the few that actually gets to that stage at that age.
Because it's escalated.
It's
escalated cases, just like a terminal patient with cancer. It's the same fucking philosophy. It's like, oh, this person is about to fucking die. There's one experimental treatment that will probably kill them, but they're gonna die anyway, type of situation. Like, it's the same thing with these really extreme cases of minors who are literally put in rubber rooms because they're gonna try to hurt themselves the second they don't receive that care. Like, that's essentially what those levels are. And it's like, doesn't understand like the comparison between the two. And if he really cared about helping kids, he would let the kid get the thing that they want that lets them stay on this planet. Like, it just blows my mind that it's like, no, cancer is different. It's like, no, it's not.
And that's why
it's not. It's healthcare.
That it was my whole argument. It's so funny too that he's like, you guys called me a bigot. No, I didn't. I said you have an anti-trans bias because of what you're pointing out. That it was Matt and I who were talking to him. We did the same thing to him where we were like, okay, here's a similar medical intervention with similar problems. Do you have a problem with it? And he was like, well, no, why would I? I'm not an expert. And we were like, yes, you have an anti-trans bias. You think that your unqualified opinion matters in topic A, but not in topic B. Why do you think it matters in topic A when it's the same exact scenario as topic B? Your opinion doesn't fucking matter on this issue. And it's so funny that he was like, oh, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but all of academia and the modern American medical associations are not having access to the real information because it's suppressed, but I have it.
Suppressing it.
Delusional fucking people, man. I can't.
It's like, and they don't understand how studies work and how science works and how different regions have different ways of speaking. So therefore, it's hard to do a one-for-one analysis. Like you can't like for example, the U.S. Trans Survey takes an hour to take that survey. I cannot take that survey and translate it into Swedish right away and then send it to them and say, hey, take the survey.
Right.
I can't compare that data unless the academics over there make the questions actually fit correctly. I can't like the way the questions are asked change in context in language. Like it's like there's so much that happens with language barriers across oceans. Like it's so dumb, and it makes me so angry that that's what we're doing. We're comparing apples to oranges, and we're talking about gender non-contentedness that was translated from Swedish. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
Oh my God.
It sounds like you're still having work done maybe in your apartment, and all of a sudden I heard a jackhammer, and I was like, what
There
was
is
that?
a jackhammer going on.
Okay.
There is, and it was when I was quiet. My AI like little filter
That was
is
loud.
not understanding that when I stop talking, it's like, oh, I guess that's part of the audio. I know.
All right. We have 4 more callers I'd like to get to, and we're going to get to all of you guys. I think I might take caller 11-5 first. I think that one sounds really interesting. I don't have a good
see
answer.
if shutting my door fixes.
Okay.
So see if shutting my door fixes the jackhammer.
Yeah. All right. So coming up next, we are going to talk to Spring, pronouns she, her, in Washington, who asks, how much aggression/violence is warranted as a trans person against transphobia? Is it self-defense? So I think this will be an interesting conversation. Spring, you are live with Arden and Josie. What's up?
Hi there.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh goodness, I've been on the line, or I'm waiting for a little bit, and I've been getting more anxious. I'm not really good at these kind of things. That last caller, though,
You're
that was
fine.
painful. For what it's worth, I don't think I ever understood the actual feeling of happiness and joy and comfort in my own skin until I ever started transition and came out as myself and started living as Spring and as myself, and it's a completely different person. I was really spiraling downwards, and I really, along with some health issues, it just really felt like I just was meant to die. Like, what's the fucking point? And I don't want to now, which kind of sucks with the way the world's going. And now I'm reaching this point where I'm kind of yo-yoing between. So yo-yo implies like 2, but it's really like this. I have this triangle of emotions where sometimes I'm real optimistic and ready to fight. Sometimes I want to burn it all down, and other times I just want to like give up. And it's tearing me apart. I'm feeling myself become an entirely different person, and I've always been a good person. Sorry, I'm not very, like I said, I'm not very good at this.
No, you're doing great.
I have a great mother, and she instilled good values. I've been generous. I have been helpful. I have been friendly and loyal and loving. I have, even when I wasn't towards myself, I was still good. And even when I wasn't happy with the world, I was still a good civilian. I was respectful. I went to work. I paid taxes. And now I'm here, and I have actually built something. After transition, I have a wife. I have a puppy that's our little baby. I have friends and family that love me. And now I watch everything reach this point. And I don't know what to do because I don't feel like the same person anymore. I'm getting angrier every day, and my wife and I are both disabled. I'm basically a living caretaker, and so we all have all day, every day to either find some way to try and ignore the world or just look into everything we follow the little things that don't get posted on the news, like not even like suppressed news, like the kind of things that never actually reach it to air, little things like people talking amongst themselves online. Like I work in this particular wing of the White House, and I don't have sources, but I hear this, and there's so many little things that are so much worse than people even realize. And I know people realize, especially probably listening to you, how bad it is. But some of the things floated are beyond even what you'd expect. And a lot of times, anytime Trump is actually shot down and they keep that from reaching any point where he actually said anything about it, it's not because they say that's a bad idea, it's because they say that's too much too fast, and we have to slowly build up this genocide until these people are wiped out. And I don't. Sorry, I don't know how long I can just wait here.
Yeah, Spring, thank you for sharing. You're getting a lot of love in the chat because a lot of people are feeling exactly the way you are. It is very, very real. And can I ask, how old are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I had my 36th birthday last month, and
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
one of those few days I could ignore the world for a little bit. But
Well,
yeah.
happy birthday. Happy birthday. On that. I think all of us are around the same age. No, I think Arden's a youngin. Anyways, yes, little baby Arden. So yes, Spring, I just want to acknowledge your fear and the pain and the anger, and it's easy to get consumed by it, where you feel like, who am I when I look in the mirror? That's a very real thing. And I will say this because I bring up Miss Major a lot, who was there at Stonewall. She's still with us. She still goes to events. She still goes to protest, and she's an amazing human living legend. And you know what she says when people ask her questions that are similar to this? She goes, "Honey, we're still fucking here." And because she has been, that's what she says. Literally, that's her words. "We're still fucking here." And she will be known for saying that because that's what she says to people. And the reality is, that's what matters the most, is the fact that we have been through the shit. Miss Major was in a world where you could get beaten to death by the police for looking trans in society, for wearing the wrong t-shirt, wearing pants as a woman, like that type of stuff. People would literally be killed on the streets by the police, the government, right? We as a community are no strangers to adversity and pain and suffering. But you know what? We're still we're still doing ballrooms. We're still going out there. We're still thriving. We're still fighting. We're still standing with each other, and we're still in community, because our thriving is what drives them bonkers. The fact, Spring, that you're able to say, you know what, I'm happy now and I don't want to leave this planet anymore, is a thumb in their eye, because they don't like to hear that. They want to be like, how are you still thriving even though we're throwing the entire government system against you? Well, it's because we're still fucking here. Because in reality, we are not going anywhere. This Trump administration is going to be here for 4 years and it's gone. And also, the fact is, we're going to outlive his ass. We'll be able to dance on his fucking grave one day. And that's the reality. So who's going to get the last laugh, right? And now I'm using aggressive language because I too am a nice person. I too want to know myself as kind. But the idea of dancing on his grave makes me happy, right? Like and that is okay. That is healthy, to be able to feel for your community, to know the pain that exists. That's what makes you human. The thing that matters is for you to continue to thrive, for you to continue to move forward. And so we can continue to say 10, 20 years from now, we're still fucking here. Because we are going to be here and we're going to win our liberation. And there's going to be a lot of blood, sweat, and tears along the way. But we are going to make it because our community has made it before. From the beginning of our society and civilization and humankind across the entire globe, trans people are still fucking here. And so that is really what it's about. And so you being able to be defiant in your existence, for you to be defiant and being able to thrive, for you to be defiant and be happy, is what makes us a powerful community, because we don't go back into that box, right? We are here and we are proud to stand here. And I know I'm throwing a lot of like feel good platitude-y type language, but that's what we need, because we're going to make it. Right. And I said this before on the last show, is resiliency does not mean invincibility. Resiliency is something that allows you to take a punch. But just because you can take a punch doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. Right. And you got to be able to sit with that as a human, as a person, to be able to say, you know what, I can take a punch, but I can cycle in, and then Josie can take the punch, and then Arden can take the punch. And we're all taking that punch together, switching in and out, because we're going to be resilient. We're going to live through this, but we're going to remember the pain, and we're never going to let them forget, because that's what's going to get us our trans liberation.
That might be a good transition into the idea that you say I can take a punch, and you know what? I can. My wife and I are both trained fighters, and we are so angry and ready, and it's not a good thing. I don't want to feel like this, but it's just, I feel like primed every single day. I don't, even if I can control myself, even if I don't just hit someone in public for being transphobic, I don't know when someone will approach me and make it such a problem that there's no way out but to defend myself. And then I don't know if that self-defense will lead to some kind of interaction with the police where maybe I get hurt, or maybe they find a way to pin this on me. And where we live, there's the county prison. They like to send you to, more like a state prison, but just this county sends it to you, or sends you there. It has a reputation for having an over 50% murder rate with trans women. Like, you have an over 50% chance of not surviving your prison sentence if you go there. And my wife was one of the trans youth that was forced onto the street because of a religious family. And she had to survive, and it got her in trouble with the law. And she's had cops smear in her face and mention that, yeah, we're going to send you up to Walla Walla, sometime soon, and be rid of you forever, things, something like that. And now I don't know if literally anyone can walk to my door and cause so much of a commotion that me just having to do something, defend my home or family or myself, it could be the end of my life. It could be the end of everything I've built. And it really feels like I'm just waiting for that day. Like there's this metaphorical, invisible fuse somewhere lit, and I never know when it's going off. And when that happens, it's over. And it makes me want to do something, like be preemptive. It makes me want to go out and find some way to fight back from the underground in bad ways. Like, I don't want to turn into someone violent, but I see things online where I know, like, I absolutely, without a doubt, in my heart know there are people who are saying these things online who would gladly line my wife up and me against the wall and shoot us in the head personally. And it's reaching a point where all I want to do is mirror it. All I want to do is say, fine, I do that to you. And it's destroying everything I tried to build into who I am and what I wanted to be in this world. Be the change you want to see in this world. And I was going for a good change, but not getting anywhere.
If I can, I want to jump in because I want to say, first of all, that I relate so deeply to everything you're saying, and that I've been using a similar metaphor the last few days where, like, I just watched Lost, and I don't think this counts as a spoiler that a plane crashes on an island, right? Where I feel like I am on the plane, and I know that it's going to crash on the island, and I don't know when it's going to rip apart, but I know it's going to happen, and it's kind of soon, and it's going to suck when it does. It's going to be violent and painful, and I am not prepared. Like, I am prepared, but also you can never be prepared. That's how I've been feeling for weeks. And I honestly, first of all, I mean, like, I'm sorry that you're feeling this way, you know, but also I want to say, in another sense, thank you for expressing those feelings, because, you know, it's always good to know that you're not alone. And also, I feel like there's a certain clarity that I can get from hearing somebody else express the same feeling about when I've been saying it to myself, and being like, oh, wow, all the things that I'm thinking of saying to Spring right now, you know, of like what Josie's saying about, like, the unparalleled perseverance of the trans community in the face of oppression is something that I hold on to very strongly. Surviving out of spite to take a fat dump on Trump's grave, that is something that fuels joy deep into my heart. I hear where you're coming from, and I get the sentiment of being like, it's about to get really bad, and you want to be, you know, if it gets really bad, I should say, because I don't know that it's going to get as bad as it feels like it's going to get. But if it gets really bad, you would want to have been prepared. You would want to have been ready. You would want to have been proactive. And I get that sentiment. I do think, though, it's worth saying that, like, first of all, like, presidents are often evaluated by their first 100 days, because that's where they have, like, the most political capital to get shit done. So let's at least hang on, you know, and survive through those first 100 days, because then the floodgates should turn more into, like, a fire hose of bullshit, you know, so it'll be slightly less pressure, although still drowning probably to a certain extent. I do think there's, I don't know if I see the end of the tunnel per se, but it feels like there's a light in the tunnel. And yeah, I don't know. I do really value living in spite, and in spite of all of them, and for trying to find joy in spite of it. But trust me, you are so not alone. I was even telling Josie when we got here that I'm like, you know, just feeling very defeated, and trying hard to avoid being so doomer, because I don't think it is completely rational. I don't think it is healthy. I don't think it's good for our community or our survival to perpetuate that. But I also think it's so normal that you're feeling it, that I think it's good that we have this out on air, you know, because I think that's going to be cathartic for a lot of people to feel those emotions kind of coming through, and to know that they've been there too. Yeah, I don't know where this ends, and it feels like it's not going to be good, but I do think that there is reason to hold on. And honestly, I just want a bunch of little gay communes littered all around the US. That's my fantasy vision for us, is that we just have these nice little gay communities where we can be, and where we can train each other, you know, in case of certain scenarios. But yeah, I don't know. I'm rambling now. Sorry.
Spring, like, know that your feelings are valid, but take care of yourself. Do that self-care that we were talking about at the beginning of this call. Don't give them the fucking satisfaction of fighting them with physical violence, because that's what they want us to do.
True.
They want us, because that's what they want. And reality is this: you lock your doors at night, you go to, you know, you do what you got to do to stay physically safe and in where you are. But in reality, it's like, we're gonna make it. The trans community is not going anywhere, no matter what they do. And in Washington State, like, I'm gonna say this because I know Washington, as far as the studies and everything. Washington State has the highest concentration of trans people in the country in direct proportion to the US Census of population in the United States. So you have a larger proportion of trans people in the state of Washington than what the average population distribution in the country should be. And so you have that on your side too. And you are in a state where you are much safer than a lot of other places as well. And just keep your head on a swivel. Don't let them twist you. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to feel angry. But we gotta get up and fight the next day. We gotta get up and keep going. And we gotta show happiness, Spring, because guess what? You're 36 years old. Think about all the young trans people that are younger than you that are looking up to us, trying to figure out how we meet the moment. And that's where we really are. Yeah, and you know what? It's hard to be the elder in the room sometimes. You gotta suck it up, and you gotta be like, all right, we gotta calm down. We gotta stay calm. We're gonna get through this. You know, and that's where it's at.
I honestly don't think
And the trying is what matters. Yeah, exactly. And that's all we can do is try. Because at the end of the day, you're trying, made sure that you're still fucking here. Like all of us. And so just remember that. You're still fucking here.
There's a
we do.
There is a hard limit, I believe, where I feel I don't think that's my phone, by the way, sorry.
No,
sorry,
it's Arden's loud thing and the buzzing in the background.
I cannot get that to go away.
I've been too scared of two things the very most. One is the legal erasure of my identity, because I have it changed with the state. I have it changed with Social Security. I have it changed on my birth certificate along with my sex. My sex is changed with Social Security. So if that gets all erased, which was years of work and hundreds of dollars, along with my hormones, like if my hormone therapy gets cut off, I feel like I can wait out the last I have, but that I don't know where I'll go by that point. I feel like that's like a Breaking Bad moment where I'm going to finally snap. And like I said, my wife had to live on the street, and she met bad people and has bad contacts. And part of me wants to just be like, hey, can we find those bad people again and become bad people so we could do bad things to these other bad people? And I've been talked out of that, really. I don't want to do that. I'd really just like to have this nice little life I built, because I thought that was part of just living. You just get to have your own little life and just.
There are positive outlets. Spring. I just want to say this. There are positive ways that you can organize your energy in a way that makes it feel good. Absolutely. And I was actually about to post the Gymnic in here asking about how to organize. But as far as like go to Advocates for Trans Equality, we have a tool that you can actually just testify for trans rights, and you can spend your whole day freaking yelling at legislators to do the right thing, right? Like there are national actions that you can take that we are able to do, where you're able to do and spend that energy in a very positive outlet where you actually feel like you're part of collective action, because individual action will never be enough. We have to collectively act, and that's why you should go to transequality.org and go and sign up and be a part of collective actions. We are there. We are working. We give you opportunities. If you want a phone bank, we got phone banking. You want to go and knock on the doors of your legislators and make sure that they got your back, that is there too. And there are positive ways to make your energy, that you have this anxious energy of I got to do something. I got to poke these guys in the eye. Well, that's how we do it, by collectively organizing, because that's how we're going to keep and maintain our rights, especially in states of Washington. So I highly, highly recommend go to transequality.org and go and see what organizing activities you can be a part of. And that is what I would do, especially nationally. And there's also Washington state groups as well, that they exist. There's like there's trans. I think there's a Trans Equality Washington. I think, but you can find them. Join other members in your community that are just as pissed off and are ready to do some action. Like there are so much out there. Like get on it. Like seriously, you're gonna make yourself feel better, because that's how I sleep at night. I know I do everything I can every day until the morning I wake up to when I go to bed. I fight for trans equality and trans liberation because I have the privilege to do this for a living. And that's how I sleep at night and know that I did my job. I did my work. I did what I could do. And if that's how you can find your peace, then I recommend you do that, but do it in an organized way where there's professionals that can direct that energy that you have in a way that's effective.
I actually really like that idea. Part of me's wanted to do something like just get online and yell into the ether or through videos or something, but as much as I've had to say, this is actually really difficult for me, and being on video is even harder. And I don't know,
join collective
action. Just from the privacy of my own home. Yeah, I want to do something.
Absolutely.
I actually really like that idea.
I love that.
Yeah,
and I do want to validate, Spring, that I do think there is a breaking point somewhere. I mean, yeah. Man, I can't recommend a book I haven't read. Never mind. I'll dissuade from that. I was gonna recommend a book that I've been wanting to read that's kind of talking about, like, you know, where the lines are on violent action and violent revolution and kind of things like that, and where it's been successful and where it hasn't, and what methods and things like that. But I haven't read, so I'm not going to recommend anything. But there is a line somewhere for sure. But I just want to say that I do think what Josie's saying is right. We need to be spending a lot more time organizing in ways that work in the system, I think, before we get there. I think right now, I don't know, if it feels like Americans have gotten too comfortable, and we haven't had to fight as hard in a while, and now we're being forced to. It is fight or die, and I'm with Josie on that. I want to fight, and I think Spring, I think you're there too. You want to fight, but let's do it in the ways that you know, maybe don't cause broader problems for us as individuals and the movement as a whole.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I'm just so scared, and there's so much hatred.
There's a lot.
There is.
You can't go a single.
But there's a
find
there's. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I'm just saying, join those email lists, get on those volunteer lists. There are collective actions every day going on right now. Every day, there's something you can do. You know, just set aside an hour and be like, you know what, I'm going to send a letter to my representative, you know, today, or in the next hour. You're like, oh, the next day, just be like, I'm actually going to go and reach out to my local organizing group in Washington and see if they're having a lobby day, right? Like there are so many little things that you can do that will help you sleep better at night, knowing that you put in the fight. Because that's what I hear, Spring. You want to fight. And there are ways to fight in ways that make them hurt, which is by making sure their asses get out of office, making sure their policies get sued. There are so many different things out there that will actually hurt them in a way that makes material change for all of us. So use that energy, because we're all doing it.
Yeah, I actually as concentrated as trans people are here, we got pockets of Washington that are very rural. I live out in the middle of nowhere. It's like an hour bus ride to get to the city. So anything I can do from out here is really helpful. Is that link in the chat? I've been kind of following along. I can, as soon as I'm done.
Yeah. Link is in the chat. Yeah, go look for it. I posted it. You can see my name, and then you can find it there. But there's also volunteer sign up links that you can find somewhere on the site as well. And I know that we just had 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, 2 days ago, the Advocates for Trans Equality had a volunteer action meeting where we did it on Zoom. We had 280 people show up for an hour and a half to talk about. I know, right? To talk about how they can collectively act. And so get on our email list so you can get those emails, so you can be at the next one, Spring, and be in a room full of other people who are pissed and want to do something about
it. I can try. Like we're disabled and live pretty far from things. So
well, I'm talking about this is Zoom. Yeah,
Right.
this is all Zoom.
All right, I need to get with the times. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes
this is
sense.
just a Zoom
Perfect.
meeting.
Anything I could
Yeah,
do like that,
yeah,
I'd love to do that. I think
yeah.
that actually, I didn't really know what to expect calling you guys. I kind of expected it to just be boring and not last very long, but that's actually somewhat hopeful to have something I can aim this towards, because it's been slowly consuming me, and it's just eating away at our home life. And it just
Yeah.
feels like their tendrils are snaking in and destroying us from the inside out. And I hate it.
It feels that way, but they have not won yet. They are attempting a lot of things. They haven't even been successful on necessarily like any of them yet. So, let's just try to exercise some caution and overreacting to things. But your feelings are so valid, Spring. Like I said, I relate so deeply, and I think I probably had less like to offer in this call, mostly because I'm just like, man, me too. I feel it. I am so done. I'm ready to punch someone in the nose, but that's probably not going to help anything. So
No, actually, as silly as this is, we watch a lot of The Line for catharsis, and you're one of our favorite hosts. My wife always points out that you're a lot like me whenever we watch you and you say things that I'd say. So calling in and actually hearing
Nice.
you in particular saying, just like me, that's actually kind of funny.
Totally feel it right there. We do have to take the rest of our callers from. We appreciate you for calling in, and I hope you feel better soon, because it's rough out there, but it's not over yet. Pretty far from it.
Yeah, you make things a lot better than I was when I first called. I'm actually really grateful and surprised you took my call. Yeah, you get to your other stuff. I'll keep following.
Right on. Have a good day.
Spring. Appreciate you. Much
Thanks
love.
both you guys. Bye-bye.
Alrighty. I want to remind you guys before we get to these last 3 callers, after these calls, we're going to do super chats. And if you do hashtag Team Arden, then you have a vote. And so make sure you put hashtag Team Arden in all your super chats. And then we get to make Josie say something that makes her look foolish. And that'll be fun. So hashtag Team Arden to make Josie look foolish.
You are already counting those eggs before they even hatch. And you know the premium on eggs right now? Like, can you afford counting those eggs?
I don't have to buy the eggs. These people buy them for us. They will plop them down in front of me. Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah. Well, all Team Josie, put down your vegan eggs right in front of me. Hashtag Team Josie to make sure Arden gets knocked down a peg, because she
That's
always
fair.
needs that.
I do always need that. All right, we're gonna just go in the order that they've come in for the rest of these calls. So that's gonna be Tyler, then Min, and then Grace. So if you are listening right now and you're like, I'm last in line, I don't want to wait, that's just there's an opportunity for you.
Please wait.
But if you hang on, we'll get to you. But all right,
Yeah,
next we're going to talk to Tyler. Him in Georgia has noticed an uptick in gay folks being transphobic. How to work to combat that. So Tyler, you are live with Arden and Josie. Tell us what's going on.
Hey, y'all. So I just wanted to say, I think Al Sharpton, he says that righteous anger leads to collective action. So I think that could maybe help out Spring. Also, Jacob, I think, is a bigot. For him to push for conversion therapy, I actually was sent to conversion therapy, and it led to me having suicidal ideation. So I just think he's a little gross.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway,
I agree. I just wanted to make sure he knew that I didn't actually call him that, but I do think he is a bigot. I just didn't call him that on the call.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, if you say bigoted shit, you're going to be called a bigot. Anyway, but
yeah,
so I'm a gay man down here in the South, and I've noticed this more so online. There have been gay cis men, and they're typically white. I myself am a person of color that have expressed transphobic views. I know that on government websites, they've been taking the T off of LGBT. And some people are online are like, well, that's fine because they're not part of our community. I mean, trans men and women have been at the forefront of LGBT rights since forever.
Facts.
You know, we wouldn't have the rights that we have now without y'all. So it kind of, it's it's frankly pissing me off. And I mean, I call it out when I see it, and I'm not trying to be like gay-centric when I say this, or, you know, but I always say, you know, they come for the trans people first, and we are next. So
Oh, yeah.
I just need more. It's so frustrating because y'all are part of us. You know, we all need to be a collective and fight against this bigotry that's festered in this country. And I just feel as if some of them are leaving all out to dry, and it's really frustrating. I want to, you know, have other talking points so I can open their eyes to just be like, y'all are dumb. Like, get with the program. Anyway, so if y'all have any advice, I know that Josie talked about last week during the gay movement, I think it was in the 90s, we kind of sold y'all up the river, and we're like, okay, well, we got what we wanted. So, you know, if they can take it from y'all, that's fine. I don't want that to happen again. So I just would like some of y'all's advice. I kind of called in just to get some of my frustration out there because it's been really pissing me off.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll hand it over to y'all.
I mean, if I could jump in first, just because I have two strong thoughts right away. I want to say, like, to the gays who are sincerely like anti-trans queer people, they are already coming for marriage equality. There's already a bill that's going before the Idaho State Supreme Court, I believe, that's supposed to, well, you know, is presumably intended to move up to invalidate the Obergefell Hodges ruling. I'm guessing is their goal. I mean, that's
Right.
what they've been saying is their goal, and I think it's probably fair to assume that that's what's going on here, even though we don't have that explicitly. And like, silly to expect us to, you know, have to have them in writing saying this is my intention when that's what they've been saying publicly broadly for ages. Yeah, no, they're absolutely coming for gay rights. They're already doing it. And the other thing I would say is that I think like 98% of the times that I see a gay influencer taking those positions, one of two things is happening. One, they're not really gay, and it's just a total fucking psyop, which is genuinely the case all the time. Also, like the LGBT Alliance in the UK, like the majority of their members are like old, straight, bigoted cis women who are like protecting lesbians from, you know, the trans agenda. It's like, who asked you, bitch?
That's silly.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Also, I don't remember where I was entirely going with that, but I also remembered, and I forgot again. Man, my ADHD is ruining my performance this episode. I'm so sorry, you guys. Josie, did you want to pick it up?
Yeah, and it's okay, Arden. You don't have to apologize. It's fine. We're under a lot of pressure. So Tyler, the reality is this. Also, you know, as Arden said, some of these people are cosplaying as queer, but there's also a lot of people who are also super afraid. We know throughout movements as well that they're like, I'm one of the good ones, and they believe that if they just play and assimilate and they play the game, that they're not going to be under the chopping block. And the reality is, ask the gay Republicans how that's going for them. And in reality, like I said on the last show, it was the early aughts, not the early 90s, but the 90s were also awful for trans people in general. But as far as, you know, we have seen throughout history that it's easy to point at another when your rights are also under threat. So when, you know, Hispanic people back in the day were like, no, but look at the black people, or like black people were like, no, look at the women, or like, you know, or the women are like, no, look at the gays, and the gays are like, don't look at us, look at the transies, you know, and it's like it's this game that they try to play, and it's the marginalization that continues to try to give power to people to marginalize another. It really goes back to that old poem, right? That first they came for the socialists and I said nothing, right? We are at that stage right now, where first they came for the trans folks and I said nothing, or then they came for the immigrants and I said nothing, and then they came for the black people and I didn't say it, and I said nothing, and then all of a sudden it just goes up the chain and then there's nobody left, right? And that's where that comes from. It comes from the fact that there are people who don't try to stand in solidarity with other marginalized communities, and it's to their own detriment because they are making themselves weaker when they do that. Because who's going to fight for the queer people if all the trans people are gone, right? If like these white gay people, right, like they won the civil rights through the actions of Stonewall when Stonewall was a predominantly black, lower income, club that was rated, and then all of a sudden it put queerness in the front of the world, and they were like, oh gosh, now we actually, from that moment, we were able to, over decades of time, be able to win marriage equality. But you know what was happening at the very upper class white gay clubs? Nobody rated them, right? Because they were playing the game, and they think that they can go back to a time where, oh, I'm just gay in this little area and I'm fine. I'm integrated into society because of da da da. It's never going back that way. So yeah, you can use, and going back to your comment, it's the fact that queer, black, trans people and brown trans people were out there fighting in the streets, losing their blood on the streets, getting putting their bodies on the line, that won liberation for the white gay that was sitting there comfortably in their homes while they were watching their comrades that were also gay getting beaten in the streets. That's the reality, and they can't sit back and just watch it happen from the vantage point and hope that we're going to do it again. They have to get in this fight, and you know what? If they do not help us along this way, their blood is going to be put on the streets as well, and that's the reality. If it isn't for the marginalized communities fight, then we would not be free. That's why I always say, once we have trans liberation, that's when we are all free. That's the reality of the situation. So if they don't want to fight for trans liberation, they're never going to be free. So that's my little rant. Go ahead, Arden. It looked like you remembered what you were going to say.
Yeah, it's real quick. It's like one sentence, then I want to hear what Tyler has to say back, which is just that. I can't remember the specific poll, but gay women are like repeatedly, when polled, like the biggest supporters of trans rights out of any like demographic group. So yeah, whenever I see these gays online being like, I'm anti-trans, I'm like, I think you're just a grifter. I don't even know that you're gay, honestly, because every gay person I talk to is like their family. Like that, I call queer people that I see in public family, because I'm like, I don't know,
sisters, like, I mean,
right, for real. No, honestly, that's how I feel. And yeah, anyway, sorry, go ahead. I want you to hear what you have to say to all that we just threw at you.
So for Josie, yeah, I have noticed that the BIPOC queer communities are exponentially more accepting and supportive, and it's just, it breaks my heart, because I mean, I'm mixed race, black and white, and I just see my white brothers kind of just like selling y'all out, and I low-key just want to punch some sense into them, but I'm not a violent person either, Spring, so but anyway, and then also, as it comes to these people being grifters, I don't know if y'all know Grand Old Evan on TikTok or whatever. If not, don't look into him, y'all. But I actually went to college with him, and he was a huge liberal, this, that, or whatever. But as soon as he got out of college, he started to do the grifting thing. So I do agree with you on that. So I don't know. It's just I've been really frustrated with the gay cis community recently. I called to get out some of my frustration, and I just want to let y'all know that I support y'all. I love y'all. Not everybody, and a lot of people say that, a lot of people in the South are bigoted. There's a lot of people that aren't.
For sure.
It's. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, so I know
Arden lives in the South, and you live in the South, so there's two.
Right. So yeah, I'm down here in Georgia. I am in Atlanta, but and I kind of moved here because it is more liberal. I grew up in a really red area, and like I said, was sent to conversion therapy and all that kind of stuff. So But yeah, I love the work that y'all are doing. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope y'all have a good rest of the week.
Yeah, thanks you for calling in, Tyler. I appreciate your time.
All right, thank y'all.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
I've only been to Atlanta one time, and when I did, I saw a queer walking down the street in heels and a rainbow cape. So,
well, I'm
it
just
seemed like a
saying,
fun city to
Atlanta,
me.
there's,
I was like, hello, can I live here?
There's
No,
a
just-
lot. Yeah, there's a lot of Black trans leaders that live in Atlanta, a lot, and they're actually gearing up to start running for office down there. And
Let's
so
go.
Atlanta is kind of a little bit of a bastion for in the South for like queer trans liberation, as far as what we're working on for. So it's like it's that whole quay. I'm embodying the spirit of Miss Major. It's like we're still fucking here. Right.
Yep.
And we are winning in places like Atlanta, you know, in the heart of conservative South. And we're still winning. We're still winning. We're going to do it.
Yep. I am like Spring, constantly waffling between complete despair and hope and like, yeah, we've got this. I know we've got this. We're great. And then I'm like, oh, but it's also all over and we're doomed.
That's my job. Josie's positivity comes forward, even though you like to be like, damn it, Josie, let me be mad. I hear you, Arden. Like you're just like, I don't want to even see your positivity. It's like, yeah, well, that's what I do.
It's useful. It has its uses. Okay, listen.
Yeah.
I have to have a positive counterpart to me because apparently I'm just always the negative counterpart of the show. But hey, that's what you guys tune in to see. All right, we've got Min, pronouns he, him, or any, from California, calling in to update me about his situation and has a question for Josie. So, Min, you are live on Transatlantic with Arden and Josie. Tell us what's going on.
Hello, Arden. Good to talk to you again. Nice to meet you, Josie.
Yeah, good to hear from you. What's going on?
Yeah, so I would like to give you a quick update from our last chat with you and Dr. Ben. So last Friday, I attend the monthly meeting in my group, and I talked to the trans guy in my question. And this time, I feel like I need to resolve this once and for all, because I don't want to keep relating this stuff because he keeps showing his interest in me, so I don't want to hurt his feelings too bad. So this time I asked him out, like, let's go coffee if you available. And I waited for a moment that he told me that, I like our meeting. I hope that we can do this more often. And right there, I said to him, I would love to do it with you each month, but I just want to make it sure to you that I just want to do it as a friend, because I'm not ready to be in a relationship with anybody. And, as I anticipated, he said, oh, it's okay. I mean, I know that you're not the first guy who's not interested in a trans guy. And right there, I remember what you told me, that, that I don't have to give him the reason. But, and that reason, that if I go honest, then it's going to hurt his feelings. So instead, I followed up the band reason, and I said to him, actually, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just not in the position to be in a romantic involvement with anybody. I need to focus on myself for a year. I have issue with my housing and my job. I need to work that first. So it's has nothing to do with you. And I feel like I ended nicely. So he seemed to be relieved that that's not the reason. So I feel like, I was able to protect his feeling. I think I did a good job on that.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like that it went about as well as it could have. I hope. I mean, I guess in the end, we were kind of saying, like, you don't necessarily have to be honest, and you don't ever have to be honest. You can lie about whatever the fuck you want. I'm not your mom. I'm not watching over you. I don't think necessarily lying is necessarily always better, but I mean, if you feel like it ended in a way that's more comfortable for you and his feelings weren't hurt and now you can kind of maintain the professional relationship, then that's probably for the best. But yeah, what was your other thing you wanted to ask Josie about?
Yeah, so from that experience, I began to wonder. Um, I wonder, like, for the trans community, um, is it, I guess, like, for you, is it more about, like, do you think, like, they only be totally happy if they are totally accepted, or they're, or like, certain accommodation is sufficient? And I asked Josie about it because, you involve a lot in politics and social issue from the White House. So probably you can answer the question for me.
Yeah. So there's like different stages to liberation, right? Like first we have to get equality under the law, right? Where we have access to accommodations, public spaces, all of the things where like if we get discriminated against or hate crimed on the street, that we're actually like protected by the law, right? That's the first step, right? Because then at that point it's like, okay, people have the right to exist, and when that right is pushed against, we actually have a legal process to be able to file our grievances and be able to have justice restored. Now, obviously that isn't enough, right? If society is like, okay, legally you have the right to exist and have all this, but you still have community that is around you that isn't accepting, so therefore more bigotry, more things that are existing, like it becomes difficult to be able to like exist if you have to face, massive amount of discrimination when you go through the door, even though like you're legally protected, but you're still not societally in your communities protected. That's an issue. But right now in this current situation where we are, we're losing rights that we have worked hard to enshrine, such as the ability to make sure that the right name and gender is on a passport, to make sure that we have the right to serve in the military, the right to be able to go to public spaces such as bathrooms, access to be able to go to sports. Those things are things that we are losing access to, which makes it harder for us to be able to thrive in every aspect of life. And so that's kind of the situation that we are in. But yes, it happens in stages. We need both political, policy, and social connections. But we need to go down the list of needs to make sure that we have legal protection first and foremost.
So Josie, if you don't mind, I want to give you this example from the conversation I had with trans women on X. And to be clear with you, I do my best to help the trans community, even though I am far from being the ally for other reasons. So I chatted with this trans woman, and so when the issue with the bathroom bill in the White House in the Capitol, and so I asked this trans woman that is your issue is about safety or is about validation? Because after I give her a scenario that if for every bathroom that a cis woman has, trans women also have the same bathroom. Would you be okay taking that bathroom, or you feel like you should be in the cis woman bathroom? And she said that she should be in the cis woman bathroom. So that's where
Absolutely.
I feel like it's hard for me to really like to argue for them or support them totally, because if I do that, then what about the freedom of association for the rest of them? So I don't know how to help her with that.
in the 60s, before we had segregated bathrooms between blacks and whites. Like, would you say that is the situation that we should go, like, if we go back to that, does that mean that we should be okay with that? Does that make sense what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah.
so the separation but equal argument. So like let's say we have a cis woman bathroom, a trans woman bathroom, and a cis man bathroom, and a trans man bathroom, and then just the bathroom for non-binary people. That's a lot of building. That's I'm just saying that's pretty nuts to have all of that. But in that situation, do you see that as equality?
I guess so.
Okay, so in the 1960s, before the Civil Rights Act, there was segregation between white and black people in the same way. There were black bathrooms and white bathrooms. Do you think that that was equal?
No, I think that's really unnecessary. Not equal.
Exactly. So do you see,
Yeah.
so you see, like, that's why it's unnecessary, because it's segregation, right? You are literally segregating people away from other people by putting up walls and barriers and rooms. I don't know what Arden's laughing at. It's kind of funny. But essentially that's the same argument, right? So the people who would argue for black and white bathrooms would be the same people that would also argue for trans and cis bathrooms. So therefore, we already have precedent in this country that shows that segregation based on characteristics is wrong. So that's why it would be wrong if we had trans bathrooms and cis bathrooms. Does that make sense? It's the same thing, right? You're
Yeah.
discriminating against people based on a characteristic
Yeah, I
that they
guess so.
can't
See,
change about
for
themselves.
me, I don't pay attention. Whoever in my bathroom, I don't care. I mean,
Exactly.
if trans man in my bathroom, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me in any shape or form.
Sure.
I guess because
So
when I
why?
read sorry,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, so if it doesn't affect you that a trans man goes into the bathroom, why create a different bathroom?
Well, I don't intend to do that, but I mean, like, if people want to, I don't know if I should haunt that decision from happening.
Right. But somebody could say the same thing if people wanted to create black and white bathrooms again.
Mm. Yeah,
Right.
I
So
guess
that's why
you're
we
right about that.
stand with
Yeah.
that. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because where do we stop, right? Because at that point it's like that's the whole argument that I was making before about trans liberation, right? Once we have trans liberation, we're all free, because once you start taking rights away from trans people, you can use those same mechanisms that you use to take away the rights from trans people from other groups as well. So now it's trans people, now it's gay people, now it's white people. I mean, not white people, sorry, black people. And so and then Asian people and all of these different people now, because you created a system that allows you to discriminate against trans people, you can use those same laws to start discriminating against other people. So that's why we fight so hard to protect trans people, because if you start discriminating against trans people, it's not very hard to discriminate against other people the same way. That's why we
Yeah. So
fight hard to
Josie,
protect trans.
I hope you can help me with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I argue with the gender critical people, like really on
Mm-hmm.
like the what's that, the altar one,
Mm-hmm.
I ask them, if you really want to blanketly ban every trans woman from the women's bathroom, how do you do that based on what metrics? Because I argue that if a trans woman, like,
Exactly.
has as a woman, like a cis woman, and they don't cause disruption in the women's space, what is your reason to ban them from that? And of course, they talk about, exposure genitalia or something like that. And to be honest, I don't know how to counter that argument. I mean, it's their space. I don't know if I should intervene or not. And
Well,
I
the
would like to
idea
support
that
trans people, but that's the thing. I don't know how to argue against, because there are reports, some people who expose, you know, in the female space. So what can I say?
So here's an example. And think about like let's create this scenario. Let's play that out. Let's play this game because I haven't done this on a call yet, but I want to do it right now. If let's say you were a man that wanted to assault, or let's say a man, let's say would want to assault a woman in the bathroom, not a trans woman, but a man that wants to go and assault a woman in the bathroom and wants to disguise themselves as a woman, what would they have to do that? Just give me a scenario.
If a man wants to assault a woman in the
in the bathroom, but they want to pretend to be a woman to do it, what would they have to do?
well, I guess they can just wear female clothes and
Okay.
As a disguise,
Wear
and
female
they
clothes.
get into the space. Yeah.
So they're gonna go to the store. They're gonna spend their money to go buy clothes. They're gonna buy, maybe a wig, and they're gonna actually go and look in the. Are you gonna put on makeup too? Are they gonna put on makeup too?
That's
Okay, so
they have to do.
so are they gonna look good? Are they gonna ask their girlfriends, "Hey, do I look nice? Do I look like a woman so that I can go into this bathroom?" Are they gonna do that? Are they gonna care about looking good? Are they gonna wanna like make sure they match, that the dress that they buy matches their body type and stuff like that too? Remember, this is a man that wants to pretend to be a woman to go into a girl's bathroom to assault them, right?
So I think that's gonna take a lot of work for him. Yeah.
Yeah, it is gonna take a lot of work, isn't it? Okay, all right. So what would a man do if they want to go and assault a woman in the bathroom? They just go into the bathroom and they assault a woman. Do you think that a sign on the door is going to stop that person from doing the crime? Yes or no?
No, a sign will not prevent them from doing that.
Exactly.
Definitely not.
Right?
Yeah.
So now we're talking about the first scenario where there's a man who's like, I'm going to go and pretend to be a woman. I'm going to put on makeup. I'm going to get a wig. I'm going to go to the store and buy a cute dress. I'm going to make sure I look good. I'm going to shave. I'm going to do all this stuff just so I can walk into the bathroom to assault a woman. No, they're going to walk into the bathroom and assault a woman the way they look right away. They're not, because even if they go in and they assault a woman and they go through all of this work to put on a wig, to put on a dress, to shave, to put on makeup, to do all of this stuff, they assault a woman. Do you think that the police are going to care if they put in the work and say, no, but I'm trans? Do you think the police are going to care about that? Oh, well, you pretend you're trans, so I guess you can assault women in bathrooms. I guess that's okay, right? Do you think the police gives a crap if they're wearing a wig or not?
The police are notoriously the best trans allies.
Yeah. So there you go, right? So the reality is, when you're talking to these gender critical people and they're trying to say we're protecting women's spaces, in reality, their argument falls flat when you actually play out the scenario of a man pretending to be a woman just so they can assault a woman in the bathroom, because they would have to go through so much steps, spend so much money to do all of this. And guess what? They commit the crime anyway, and the police don't give a crap what they look like when they committed the crime. It's the fact that they committed a crime of assault. That's what the difference is. Trans women do not commit assault in bathrooms by the statistics and the data. Cis men go into bathrooms and commit assault, and they don't get stopped by a bathroom sign, and they're cis men. So the reality is, it's a made up fantasy to believe that men are pretending to be trans women to go and commit assault, because the reality is they're just men, and they're going to commit assault in the bathroom because they're criminals and want to do that. That's why I wanted to play out that scenario with you, because the idea of having this happen is absurd, because the law is the law regardless if you're wearing makeup or not.
Thank you so much, Josie. Yeah, I'll remember that, and if I have a chance, I will try to engage in this conversation with them, and hopefully they will change their mind, because I think blasphemy is just a trivial thing. So I don't know why people make fuss about that too much.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
yeah, I don't usually want to interfere with the issues so much because at the end of the day I'm a guy, so it's their space, and I mean I guess your space too. So if I get in and say my view, I don't think it's very productive. I feel like probably you give me some insight to work it out with them if I have to.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just about making sense, right? Like the fear is a fear that is unfounded. We know through the data that it doesn't happen. Right. And and the reality is like a predatory cis gay man can go into the men's bathroom without even having to do anything. Right. They just go into the boys' bathroom anyway. Right. So it's about it. The question isn't about being trans or not. The question is about people being assaulters and criminals in the public. Like that's something we have to deal with in society, regardless if you're trans or not. And that's the reality. The question is criminals, not trans people.
Oh yes,
So,
because you mentioned the criminal thing. Can I ask you, like in the situation with prison, how do you resolve it? Um, if the turf asks me, like, how do I argue?
well, the question is the judge, right? Like, if there's a crime, like for example, let's say it's about if a trans person is a criminal and they're committing crimes, right? And they have to go to prison because they broke the laws, the judge is going to have to make the determination about what the prison and the situation of that person. So if it's a trans person like myself or like Arden that are just like we're sitting in front of the judge and we've lived as women and been trans women for years and years and years on hormones and everything, it only makes sense to send us to a women's prison, right? It's the same type of situation when these judges are giving these scenarios, and what we are able to see is that trans people, when they go to the gender, the prison of what the gender they identify with, go to those prisons, then they are able to not suffer the levels of abuse that trans women that go to male prison. So if a trans woman goes to a male prison, they're going to be abused, they're going to be hurt, they're going to be assaulted sexually, and we know through the data that that's incredibly dangerous. Right. And we don't make, and like and the question is like, let's bring it out of the trans stuff, and is if it's a cis woman or a cis man, and let's say they're gay, and the cis man is like somebody who commits sexual assault and that's their crime that they're going into, do we not send them to a male prison? Like, of course we send them to a male prison because that's the prison we send them to. That's the gender appropriate place to send them. Same thing with the lesbian sexual assaulter. So the reality is we already have situations where we already have precedent to send people of genders to the prison that they associate with. That's already the precedent. So we wouldn't be changing anything. We're just going along with the way the law associates it. And we want to make sure that the law comports with sending people to the prison that they're going to be safest.
It's also just like a matter of, America has a very bad reputation. We're not the worst in the world, but we're far from the best at the inhumane treatment that we that is, bestowed upon our incarcerated population. Like, I think it's well within the realm of consideration for the state when you are accepting custody of a human being because they have done an action that, your society has deemed as a crime, to be considering the humane treatment of this person, and whether that means, sending a trans woman to a women's prison or having a separate area for people who commit sexual assaults. So that way they're not, putting a risk on the general population. Like, whatever those considerations have to be. I hate this. I feel like usually this conversation after what Josie just said devolves into, why should we be doing this for prisoners? And it's like, because they're human beings that are in the custody of the state. Yeah. I don't know. Like, what's the alternative? Just who cares if they get treated like dogs and raped and abused and killed in prison because they're prisoners and so they're subhuman? Like, I don't know. The conversation always feels to me very similar to the red herring of when conservatives bring up sports, like as if they ever actually care about women's representation and women's equality in athletics. Like it's just a vehicle for them to convey their interest in treating a population of people like animals.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, I hope that answers some of your questions. I know we got one more caller to get to before the end of the show. Do you have any last thoughts?
No, I think I have got pretty much figured out a little bit. So hopefully I can bring it to the table if I see this the gender critical person again. Because I talked to her for a while, and I guess because she confided in me that she used to be with the sexual assault, so that's why she's really afraid that trans women in her space. And I, as a man, I don't know how to comfort her at the same time, saying that your worry may be a little bit escalated unnecessarily, because that's not what most trans women are. So, but I don't know how to make her feel comfortable, because
I mean, you have to express sorrow that happened to an individual, but your personal trauma is not an excuse for you to treat other people like they're subhuman. Like, obviously, I approve of having women's spaces. Having spaces where women can be away from men is important, like escape misogyny and abuse. All of that is obviously very important. But yeah, you don't get to your irrational concerns that somebody being a part of a group could indicate that they might be a sexual abuser. Like, that's your irrational fear, and other people shouldn't have to endure trauma to accommodate your needs for the trauma that you've already been through.
Yeah, and another thing too is there are people who have been assaulted by both men and women. What
True.
they're not so what do they get the opportunity to just make sure all bathrooms are empty for them? Every time they go into the bathroom, they have to say, "Everybody out, I'm coming in because of my trauma." Right? That's not how we run society. Right? We can sympathize with those who have been traumatized, but we don't get to weaponize that trauma to make the world move around you. Right. Because in reality, if she was also assaulted by a woman, then therefore would the scenario mean that she can't go into any bathroom ever because somebody might walk in one day?
Yeah, it gets pushed to logical absurdity very quickly.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for calling in, Min. I appreciate it. You have a good rest of your day, and we'll talk to you next time, okay?
Thank you, Arden. Thank you, Josie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Alrighty, let's get to this last caller. I'm so sorry, folks. I have to go to the bathroom. That's why I walked away. And when I came back, I forgot that I put myself live on air. And this video came up of a gecko licking its own genitals. And I got so sucked in to the absurdity of it, and then I realized I was still on camera just watching this happen, and I was like, wow, okay, I need to recover. So I pulled myself off, and then I couldn't stop laughing.
This tells me so much about your YouTube algorithm that I'm actually concerned.
It's so funny. I recently, my Instagram algorithm recently picked up on that. Like absurd, like body horror, disgusting things from animals, I will watch because it's just so crazy. And I watched, it was a dolphin. It fucked something that was not meant to be, and it was horrible. A fish splooging all over this guy who just caught it. Horrifying videos. I mean, absolutely.
This is why I'm vegan. Do you not understand the reasons? Jeez.
Oh, I get it. Okay, we're being disgusting. Let's talk to Grace. She, her in Canada has opinions on if transgenderness is a mental health issue. And all right, yeah. So Grace, you are live on Transatlantic with Arden and Josie. Tell us what's going on.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, coming through loud and clear.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, what's going on? Hello?
Oh, did your phone go to sleep? Make sure you wake up your phone.
Yeah, pull your phone away from your face and tap it, and then bring it back, and hopefully that should turn it back on. No way.
Oh no.
I feel so
Did
bad.
we
You
lose
waited
Grace?
2 hours. I'm gonna hold out a little bit longer for Grace because she waited 2 hours.
We can do it. Ah.
Oh no.
I'm sorry. Hello. Can you hear me?
There we go.
Oh,
You're
yes,
back.
Yes.
Yeah,
we
sorry,
can
hello?
hear you. Yay.
We got you. We got
Can you hear
you.
me?
Yep.
Yes.
Hello.
We hear you.
I can't
Yes,
hear
we
you.
can hear you.
You can't hear
No,
us?
how are you not hearing us?
Hello.
Can you hear us? Hello, hello, hello. 1, 2,
Every
3.
other caller can hear us, so I know that's not on our end. Hello.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear us? Hello?
I don't.
Grace! That's strange.
All right. I'm really sorry, Grace. I hate to do this to you. We can answer the question.
Well, how about this? You talk to us real quick about what your question is. We'll answer it the best we can, and then we're gonna have to let you go if you can't hear us.
Can I be able to call back?
I
No,
can.
unfortunately.
No, yeah, we don't have a screener around anymore. She left about 2 hours ago. I'm so sorry.
Go ahead and say your question, though.
Okay, sorry, first of all, I just heard your suggestion. Yeah, I've heard that transgenderness is not a mental illness, and my definition I have on Google is health conditions involving significant changes in thinking, emotions, or behavior, distress, or problems functioning in social work or family activities, which kind of describes my experience, I guess.
Okay, I the best thing that I could get is that that people that have opinions on transgender being a mental health issue and advice on coming out around toxic male energy is what
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting about being socialized male. Just say
So-
yes and no if that's the case, and then we'll answer it while you're off the phone.
I actually muted. I don't know what that sound was. Grace, we're gonna hang up the phone, and it seems like you can hear us. You're watching us on the playback. We will answer your question to the best of our ability. I'm so sorry. I don't know what the sounded like. Somebody was drumming on their thighs. Very funny sound. Okay, I'm gonna drop. Thank you. I'm so sorry, Grace. Man, what a show this has been. All right, let's answer the question.
Yeah,
Do you have thoughts?
Okay. So what I hear about is coming out around toxic male energy and being socialized around being male, and then people are like, "Oh yeah, so coming out." I think essentially it is something that is really hard to figure out. I'm trying to think about how to answer this question in a way that makes sense for the audience. So a lot of trans people that are transphobes in particular that think that trans women aren't women because we are raised with masculine socialization. It is not fair because trans women are never men, and we kind of reject a lot of masculine characteristics. We are very good at trying to mask for some, like for me, I masked being masculine for 34 years. Sorry, Arden, your laugh is getting me. I don't, because now that you laugh, I can't trust you. I can't trust you because now I have a mental image of what you could possibly be watching, and you've broken my brain.
I'm not watching any animal body horror. I'm just. I saw someone say in chat she's being seduced by a dolphin. That made me break.
No.
Blame Mick KM. Sorry, chat. This has been such a terrible show. I'm so sorry.
It's a good show. Oh my gosh. Anyways, a lot of people think that we are masculinely socialized, but we're not, because the reality is being masculine, being male is like a part of your gender identity. So the idea that you may like pretend to be masculine, so like let's say you like trucks and football and beer, right? But like that may not be actually what you like, but you pretend to like those things, is a reality. But guess what? Women can also like trucks, football, and beer, right? So the reality is, a lot of people try to use that as weaponization. Damn you, Arden! Well, I'm trying to be serious here, and you're completely breaking me.
I'm so sorry. It's stupid chat. It's stupid chat is breaking me. They're saying I'm high, and I'm not. I swear on my life. I have been high on the internet many times. I would admit it so fast. I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm sorry, Josie. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh. Now we have a Lions blooper reel for sure. But anyway.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, the reality is that the idea of socialism, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this explanation now, but anyways, the idea that we are being socialized is a form of transphobia to try to take away our lived existence as women. I will stop there, because I cannot go further.
I'm
with
sorry.
the laughing Arden
I'm
in my
sorry.
ear.
That will get me in this, and then they know that it's easy for the rest of the day to pull me off.
It's easy.
It's terrible.
It's easy. I'm sorry, Grace.
Listen,
I apologize for
part of
Arden's
this is
maturity.
Also my delusional despair. It's how I'm coping with the despair. My take is that being trans is a mental illness. Okay.
As
no,
Arden,
I'm just kidding.
Right now.
I will say though, Arden, that feels like one of those questions that's as much of a red herring as what is a woman, because I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't really care whether or not it's a mental illness. And like, if it is a mental illness, what are you saying? That we should just be like, these people are mentally ill, so fuck them. Like, it's stupid.
Yeah.
So I don't really care if it's a mental illness or not.
Call back next week when Arden is an adult.
Oh my God, please. I hope I'm slightly better off. I don't know what's wrong with me. It is really bad. From the start of the show, I noticed I've been smiley and giggly, and I'm not high. I swear to God.
High. You're not even high.
I could be. I could be really easily, but I'm going to a movie later, and I want to be able to make sound decisions with my wallet. So, I'm trying to not be high. But
all the popcorn and all the candy and all the nachos.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, though, it's hard for me not to binge, because I'm at the movies. Why would I not want to eat all my junk snacks? Like, this is what I'm here for.
Do you not go to Alamo Draft House?
We do. That's where we're going. I love the Alamo.
But the thing is, I'm sure you do, Texas. Anyways, but I'm just, but no, it's a great place. But usually I set aside $100 when I go to Alamo Draft House for a date night. That's what you got to do.
It is.
And that's not even counting the ticket price.
Right. Tickets are like $15 a piece, and then they have a bunch of food, and it's every now and then they'll have something where I'm like, damn, that was actually really good. Most of the time it's the exact quality you'd expect from a movie theater selling you food. It's so expensive though.
Vegan options.
They do have good vegan options. They do have good vegan options, for sure.
They have the cauliflower buffalo wings. Those are so good. Yeah, they have
love me a good pretzel
and the vegan burger.
All right,
vegan burger is pretty good. I had that the other day.
I love a good vegan burger. We have chats. We should probably do. There's like 3 pages. Yeah, there's a lot. It's weird because I didn't see that many coming in, but there's a lot, and now I'm just gonna sit here and hold off just because it's awkward, and I'm just gonna just exaggerate the moment, make it as painful as possible. Actually, it's almost 5 o'clock. Oh my God, we've been going for 3 hours. Holy shit! Okay, we should get on with super chats. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I am high. Did somebody make me high and I didn't notice? 20 pounds from Jackie Greenland. Right now, I'm packing to fly to California in the morning. I wouldn't be lying if I said there wasn't a tiny bit of apprehension about getting through CBP. It really shouldn't be like this. Hashtag Team Arden. Thank you for the vote.
It's soon to be Jackie Red, White, and Blueland.
True. Yes. I heard about that. I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially in California. But yeah, I totally understand.
California should be fine.
Yeah. There we go.
Yep, $9.99 from JW Edgy. Oh no, 20 minutes late to the show because I got distracted by my job. Boo. Priorities were off 2 times speed to catch up. I hate 2 times speed because it makes everyone sound like Shapiro, except there's substance to the words. Yes, I agree.
There's no substance to the words you're hearing here. I promise you.
Don't loop me into your nonsense, okay?
Oh, don't pretend. Don't pretend, Josie. You know you're a part of this. $10. I'm heathen ready. I'm so ready to fight the Nazis in this Nazi era in the USA. We outnumber them, and they are aware of that, and it scares them to their core. I hope so. I hope they're scared.
They are.
If it gets to that point, I'll fight, but I'm not trying to accelerate the process.
$4.99 from JW Edgy. I just told my girlfriend that I went to rewatch Adventure Time again 2 days ago. LOL. Have y'all seen Steven Universe? Shit makes me cry like MF. So good. I have not seen Steven Universe. People keep saying I should. I hear it's very trans inclusive.
Yeah, I hear it's really good. It never caught me the way Adventure Time did. Adventure Time is just fun because they make like sex and poop jokes like on episode 1, and I'm like, all right, this show's legit. Like we're saying fuck you to the parents on this show, and that I'm totally here for it. It's hilarious.
And there's lesbian love.
And there's lesbian love. It's so cute.
It is super cute.
$5 from Monkey Typewriter. Alyssa gave me an assignment for self-care, trying to get more civilization ready. So I'm writing self-affirmations. I'm coming for your promise. Self-affirmations, there's lots of evidence. Decades behind their efficacy. Even though it feels silly. I always feel so stupid, but I can't deny. Facts. Facts are there.
$5 from Melatonin Alley. I've been playing Lego Fortnite to turn my brain off, but I listen to the line while I play. LOL. Love you both. Hashtag team, please don't make me choose. Oh, I will make you choose.
I will. You're choosing my team. Oh. Too similar.
Yeah.
Lego Fortnite's neat. It's kind of like Minecraft. I don't know why it's Fortnite at all. It's just like Lego Minecraft, but in the Fortnite engine. So they call it Lego Fortnite. Weird. 100 sexual dollars from every paper cut. As Musk and T. Rump is dismantling democracy, I'm wondering how long it'll be before they just go full Weekend at Bernie's with Lady Liberty. I really need someone to draw that. Hashtag Team Arden. That would at least be entertaining. It wouldn't be just the cryptic nightmare fest that we have going on right now.
I would not be surprised they would do that with Trump's corpse, though.
Yeah, for real.
Just Elon Musk standing behind him. Yeah, $5,499 from exactly. JW Edgy. Getting real high and watching nature documentaries is keeping me happy when I get overly stressed, depressy. Also bought the OG Crash Bandicoot games. Yes, those are good games.
That's fun. Yeah, good OG stuff. Also, I don't have the topic up. So I'm going to have you read the next couple while I get that sorted.
Yeah. $10 Canadian from Fragged Locust. Thinking about getting back in the martial arts. I still struggle with friends having misinformed opinions on stuff while not caring about politics. Trying to tell them not a lot is apolitical. It's true. It's not. Nothing's apolitical. Everything's political. Ask the farmers how political things got real quick. $6.99 video game dollars from political irony or poetical irony. I show until 2 a.m. I might be able to catch it in my time zone. I feel like this is the easiest hashtag Josie yet. Yes, always easy to do hashtag Team Josie. Love it.
Okay, let me get you your team point here. I have two potential topics. I might just send out the two as a challenge and not do three because then I don't have to think of a third. Your options are every movie should be a musical and there's enough water and chocolate milk.
There's enough water in chocolate milk?
Yes. Which position? I'm so sorry, folks. Man, what a shit show. Listen, they should fire whoever hired me. They should fire that person. Okay, there you go.
That's water promotion. That's really tricky. The person that hired you.
All right. We have $4.99 from Louise Richardson. CVS in Austin has estradiol for me to pick up. It's still coming, and I have a stockpile I'd share, but it's illegal. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah, I hope a lot of people are considering stockpiling to the extent that you can, but it's always kind of hard because they pretty well regulate the amount that you get being the amount that you need for the period of time that you have it.
Yep. $20 from Skeptalk. Thank you so much. You two are absolutely forking amazing. I'm going to bed because I work third shift and I'm super tired, LOL. Anyhow, 2 times vote for Team Arden and 2 times vote for Team Josie. Just stuff in the box. I mean, he paid $20, so I guess technically he can do that.
Oh my god, right? We have so many super chats.
I don't think times 2s are allowed, but you can at least give one to each of us.
Sure. Let's give one to each of us. Why not? Who does it hurt?
Yeah.
We have so many super chats. I just had to add like 10 more because while I was getting everything sorted, apparently a boatload came in. I do have to go see a movie at some point, so I can't be here all day, but we'll have to start speeding it up eventually. £5 from Sean Isherwood. I am despondent for those who across the pond in that wannabe despot. I find hope in people like you. Thank you for the show. Don't ever give up. We're doing our best out here. You know, honestly, how awesome you guys have been since the election has really kept me going. I think people have been really showing that they appreciate the show and that, you know, they like what we have to do. And so I don't know, it that kind of stuff does help keep me at least going.
$5 from Alashana Silverbow. I used to be conceited, but now I'm perfect. Hashtag Team Josie. Hashtag betraying Arden. Hashtag Jacob was not right. Hashtag Manito was right.
Magneto was right. $10 from Meet Joe Maker. I know this is a different topic than trans, but since websites have been removed with resources for this, do you know where a parent of an intersex child could find information or support? I mean, I would recommend talking to their doctor. Their medical professional is probably going to have access to the best information available, and assuming they're not like, you know, doctors aren't going to be like reporting people and having them dragged away, then you should be fine asking that individual. I don't know, Josie, you have thoughts on where they should look? I don't have like a link or anything.
Let me see. Interact, I believe, is a. Oops, oh, don't autocorrect that. Interact. I think that's the Interact. I'm just making sure that I have Interstate. Yeah, here it is. It's called Interact Advocates. Put it in chat now. That is the leading national network for intersex organizing and policy, and political stuff. So, do a lot of work with them. They're super great. I'm sure you can start there and find all the resources you need.
Awesome. Good link to have on hand.
I know. I'm like that. I have a lot of access at this point with everything. $5 from Melatonin Ali. Arden and Josie stand on facts and deliver with spice and assertiveness. TACIS is basically training videos for me. Hell yeah.
Appreciate it. I don't always think my methods are great for one-on-one conversation, but with someone like Jacob, absolutely, he can eat my entire ass and not in the fun way. 10 euros from Jonathan Brockett. I am rereading the first fantasy novel I ever read, The Bone Doll's Twin. I randomly picked it up off the shelf 14 years ago and happened to have a bunch of queer/trans subtext. # Team Arden. That's a funny way to spell my name, but I'll take the point.
Will you?
I will.
Shameless.
Bone Doll's Twin. I haven't ever heard of that, but
I never heard of that one either.
I really like Patrick Rothfuss. He is it's cringy as fuck in some points. The entire fairy section is so cringy, but I saw he just released, I think, the follow-up in the Kingkiller Chronicles finally. I want to read that eventually.
And there was a recent release of the Stormlight series as well, which I'm a big fan of Stormlight.
I was never into Stormlight, but I should be. Is that the
You should be.
What's his name? Brandon Sanderson, is that?
Brandon Sanderson, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
He just creates books so quick. It's so fascinating. Like, he's so young and he's like there's like a role-playing universe for him now. Like, he actually just came out. It's wild. He raised like $7 million on Kickstarter to create a role-playing universe of all.
Oh my god!
I know, it's wild.
Impressive.
Yeah, it really is. $4.99 from Mollusk Mayhem. I hope Jacob has the day he voted for. Ooh, I like that.
I just only have mean words. 100 Australian dollars. I wish they weren't video game dollars. That would have been really cool. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. From Tiani Kane. Girls, nail Jacob to the wall. Just don't do it if he likes it, because that seems like the kind of thing he might like, to be honest.
$5 from J Lock at #Team Arden is my happy place. I changed my mind. Listening to TACIS is my self-care. All right.
Aw. I'm glad I'm changing your mind. That is my goal. Be a cult leader. 10 Canadian dollars from Sylvia M. The US government is going to miss out on the 3 trans girl drone operators who have names like Freya and each has a higher body count than the US military in the Second Battle of Fallujah. # Josie.
Yes.
I heard about one of the drone operators who mentioned that, like, she went through every test and evaluation possible because there had never been a trans person in her position before her, and then they gave it to her because she passed every test they could think of to give her to consider her fitness. Yeah. And still no, somehow.
Trans drones kill just as many as regular drones.
Yeah, that's unfortunate truth.
$5 from, and she's probably better than everybody else too. Damn you, Freya! Damn you! $5 from Zachary Herrick. He rink. Can you please explain? Does he, they, or them, he mean he, him, plus they, them? How should I address someone with this style of pronoun choice? If you don't know, just ask.
I feel like this is a troll question based on the phrasing, but
I think so. I know.
I just call them one of the pronouns on the fucking list that you gave us here. 15 video game monies. I think they're shekels from Poetical Irony. Hey, Spring, a different reason here, different season here. Nice. Sending love, and I'm happy to chat through Dread anytime. Yep. Sure many are.
$5 from Skeptoidius. With any luck, it will be sooner rather than later. Hashtag make LDL great again. Agreed. I thought it was stronger.
It's not strong enough. He's still eating cheeseburgers. $4.99 from Mindy
I
DeVille. Thank you both for all you do. Really helps in navigating these waters. Thank you.
£5 from Sean Usherwood. Say not the struggle not availeth. The labor and the wounds are vain. The enemy faints not, nor faileth. And the things have been, they remain. Ooh, very poetic.
I'm sure that's a poem, or it's written by some important political figure who people expect me to know, but I don't.
Yeah.
People expect me to have read theory all the time, and I'm like, you want me to read political theory too?
You're too busy. You're too busy looking at geckos lick themselves and
it's
dolphins
true.
doing
hey,
unspeakable crimes.
I'm out here making political content like all day, every day for the line. I spend so much of my time producing these shows. And so if I want to watch geckos fucking be weird little freaks in my free time instead of also reading about politics again, I'm going to do it. I'm going to protect my peace.
Yeah, you're going to do it. Yeah.
$5 from Fragged Locust. Organize first, then revolutionize. Otherwise, it slides into vigilantism. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. $5 from Alishana Silverbow. When is the best time to clean your slinky? When you're spring cleaning. Hashtag spring jokes for spring. And hashtag stay strong spring. Hashtag Team Josie. That's a good one, though.
I kept wanting to call her Summer the whole time, even though her name was Spring. It was like my brain was like season name. Wait, somebody says it's the end of Captain America 4. That's what I'm going to see today. Don't spoil it for me. I will murder you if you do. Not really, but you know. $9.99 from Jasmine Jasmine Bryant. Always love when I catch you all alive. Hashtag Team Josie. Give Josie her point.
Yeah. $9.99 from Mindy DeVille. Forgot to hashtag LOL. I can't play favorites because you both are awesome. Gonna have to give Josie this time for her chat with Spring. You still rock though, Arden. Hashtag Team Josie.
That's fair. Okay, we have $10 from Mod. I considered calling in to start a fight about pseudo menstrual cycles and trans women, but I'm tired from a doozy of a period on Monday. Those aren't mentioned in the HRT brochure. Hashtag Team Arden. This is a nod for Mila about taking controversial opinions with your community, and I'll stand by my position. I mean, I don't even think I really have a position that anyone. Okay.
Everybody knows that I won that argument.
Whatever delusional story you have to tell yourself. I don't even think I really put forth an opinion that anyone could articulate on what I feel about things. I just said I did not accept other people's opinions. I did make one claim that I walked back, but I already walked that back, so I don't have to do that.
You already walked it back because I was right.
One part of it, you were not right. I conceded one element of the whole thing.
You conceded that you walked back and never to be brought up again. $5 from Curse Chaos. First super chat. Join the mailing list for A4TE. Let's go. Hashtag Team Josie. Hashtag cooperation leads to liberation. Love it.
Thank you for the negative point for Josie. I appreciate that brings her score down one.
That is not. That's an.
All right.
That's an.
Next chat. Here we go. $5 from SJL when a victim points out another victim to bully. It doesn't make them forget you. It just adds more people to the list of victims. Hashtag Team Josie. Thanks. Another one down for Josie. Josie is going negative in points.
Gosh,
Thank you.
You see this? This is the only way Arden can win right here. I told you last
It's not the only way I can win, but it is one of the available paths to me. Yes. Thank you. You can't blame me for using the systems that I exist within. I'm pretty sure that's true. Listen to you.
Is it $10 from Charlotte? No one is free until we are all free. True.
$5 Canadian from Devora Margot. I had to go right before I tapped this, but I have to say, I love the show. Hashtag Team Arden. Hashtag Team Josie. Can't pick. That's pretty weak of you, Devora. I'm a little disappointed. Can't lie.
I love it. It's fine. $5 from Gymnic. Self-care. I curate list of jokes and puns to share when if the moment arises. Speaking of which, Alishana said a joke about spring. Hashtag Team Josie. Let's go. Thank you, Gymnic.
I just want to point out that Jamnik06 is actually Josie's alt account, and she is just donating vote after vote to herself. It's really embarrassing.
See that Art tried to take away Gymnix06's existence. That's not okay.
I am just pointing out a fact. If it makes people uncomfortable, you want to stop pointing out facts after I know something so untrue? I'm just going to start using Trump's tactics. I've already found the fraud. $5 from Jamnik06. When is the best time to buy a trampoline? Springtime. Hashtag team.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Get knocked down that peg.
Team terrible.
As someone said, from ballot stuffer to fraudster. Okay, that's the Arden's arc. Okay, that's the story that we have to go with.
This is
here's
defensive.
Another one from Gymnik. Yeah, $5 from Gymnik06. It's springtime already. You've got to be pulling my leg. Hashtag Team Josie. See, I'm not this clever. This couldn't be my alt account. I'm bad with puns and jokes.
You're right. I'm glad you said it. You are not clever, which is why I've been right about everything, always. $5 from Jamnik06. Where's the funniest place? When is the funniest place to visit during spring break? Where? Not when. When is the funniest place? That's wonderful. The mountains, because they're hilly areas. Hashtag Team Josie.
That's right.
That one would work better if you had just said it, rather than me having to read it on your behalf.
The Calico Kitty. Don't you know Gymnik also named the cat in the spirit of the spicy Josie?
I saw that.
That's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, it's okay. Yeah, your fan, who's not you, who has the cat that you like. Sure.
Sure. $6.99 Canadian from Haunted Dragon. Hashtag Team Josie. Love from Canada. Thank you guys for all you do. Please keep fighting the good fight. Trans rights are human rights. Let's go. I'm loving Team Josie. Team Josie coming through right now.
Josie's obviously cheating. There's no way this many people would vote for Team Josie. Have you seen the job she did with the last election predictions? $5 from Charlotte. Why is everybody talking about spring though? It's no big deal, but it is very much winter here in the Midwest. Yeah, honestly, it's been pretty winter here in Texas too, as far as Texas goes anyway.
Snow on the ground. It snowed 6 inches the other day here, like a couple days ago. It was wild. $10 from Haley Granger. I probably won't be online all by the time you read this, but I just wanted to show my support. Also, just signed up to volunteer trans equality, so thanks for bringing that to my attention. Hashtag Team Josie. Let's go.
Hell yeah! Think about even if like 1% of how many people are watching right now. 360. If 1%, what is that? 36. I'm bad at math, guys. Don't do this to me. All those people went over and signed up right now. Those are all those new volunteers that could give so many valuable hours to this organization. So it doesn't have to be all of you, but if you think you have some time and you want to do something and it's that accessible to you, go do it right now.
Go do it. Go do it right now.
We have $5 from Melatonin Ale. I've gone to the bathroom with a trans coworker. I knew her pre-transition. In fact, I felt more comfortable around her post-transition in general. Yeah, got those female vibes. Don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, for sure. It's true. $5 from Trevor Belmont. One more to the pile to punish Arden's hubris by sending money to the line as she intended. Hey, wait a second. Hashtag Team Josie. See?
That's fine.
How the mighty have fallen.
Listen, at the end of the day, I get it both a host cut and a producer cut when I do this show, so I'm making more money anyway.
Wow.
So send it all.
So you hear that? She doesn't see that?
Basically, I'm saying no matter what you do, I always am the winner. I don't need integrity if I'm the winner. $5.
Oh, wow.
$5 from Jam to Go 6. My wife is furious at our next door neighbor who sunbathes topless in her backyard in the spring. Personally, I'm on the fence. Team Josie. That's pretty good.
that was a good one. Yeah. $5 from Mr. Barigua. 10. Missed most of the show. I'll watch back. Hope y'all had a good show. Also, my coworker misgendered his son. I corrected him politely. Hashtag Team Snake Mom.
Aw. Honestly, that's bold as fuck of you. Correct somebody else from misgendering their own kid. Me too.
I love that. I love that. It's so good. How
humiliating for that person.
I love that.
$5 from Charlotte. Hashtag Team Arden from @Canadian Bellator. Hashtag importing Canadian votes. Hell yes, whatever we gotta do.
Getting those Canadian votes. It's all right. It's all right. $5 from Gymnic06. Fun fact about slapping thighs. The rhythmic sound of All I Have to Do Is Dream by the Everly Brothers is a drummer slapping thighs. Hashtag not a joke.
That's funny.
Love that.
We've got $5 from YouTuber Grudge. Hashtag Team Dolphin. Hashtag Team Laughs. Let's yuck it up with dark humor. Love you all. Okay, I don't know that I love my team being Team Dolphin, especially considering what that's in reference to. But I guess I'll take the vote. A vote is a vote.
This is a dirty little rapist. $10 from Charlie Carrot. I cannot abide by all this laughter. Hashtag Team Vegan Eggs. Hashtag Team Cauliflower Wings. Hashtag Team Josie. Let's go. Thank you so much.
It was uncontrollable. I genuinely felt a little bit high, even though I know I'm not, because I was like, I can't stop laughing, man. What's happened to me? It's like,
oh my God.
I think it's that I know eventually you're going to ask me to explain, and then I start thinking about how am I going to explain this, because it's so dumb and should not have happened at all, but you know.
$5 from Melatonin Alley. Arden and Josie's laughter is so infectious. Y'all always make my Thursdays better. I'm sorry, but Alamo Drafthouse is terrible popcorn. Hashtag Team Josie. Let's go.
I can concede.
Had the popcorn there.
The popcorn is subpar, and they tried to do this like churro popcorn that sounds really good in theory, but it does not work. It's so bad. I'd rather you just give me like one of those extremely too crunchy churros that you get at like the fair. Like, I mean, when I want a churro, I want something soft and like buttery. But like, you know, if you're gonna give me one of the crappy ones, at least go for that and not this fake churro popcorn nonsense. And that's a vote for you, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Man, this is a blowout. I love it. Thank you, Team Josie.
You know, sometimes you need to get blown out. $5 for Monkey at Typewriter. I once snuck a full rotisserie chicken, mashed potatoes, gravy, and an apple pie into a movie theater. Up your game, Arden. Hashtag Team Senorita Caballero. Yeah, that is pretty impressive. I think most of the time I'm just like, it probably would be better to just sneak in candy, and it wouldn't be hard, but I'm also just like, I don't know, do I care that much? I'm just gonna buy the candy. I don't go to the movies a lot, so it's not like I'm, it's not an expense that I'm paying regularly or anything.
Yeah. $5 from Myra G, hashtag Team Arden, to even out my karma of the past couple weeks, hashtag Jacob can fly a kite. That flying a kite sounds fun though.
Right. Yeah, guys, stop wishing things that are good on these people. I tried so hard to be cool with Jacob. I genuinely did, because he's called a few times, and I've had some conversations with him that were okay and some that were really bad. The last conversation I had with him was decent, but it ended with us, that was where we told him, you have a bias, which he was like, oh, you said I'm bigot. You like, in his mind, it sounds like he thinks that I basically called him evil and irredeemable, which is not what happened at all. But like, as soon as he started, I remember, and that was a good productive call. But as soon as he started being like, well, I called in showing that they had this policy and you guys basically said it wasn't happening. And I'm like, you're immediately starting out with just lies and bullshit. And so I was just like, yeah, I have no cool for you, no chill to bring today to this conversation, because anyway.
Yeah. $5 Canadian from Canadian Bellator, hashtag Team Arden. I was Grace. Sorry, my call died. I'll clarify next week if I can, but I promise you wasn't what is a woman question. Yeah, I know. It definitely wasn't a what is a woman question. I think we were talking about the reference of somebody saying that is a version of what is a woman question, which is somebody making the masculine socialization thing. But call in next week. I would love to hear what you actually had to say. Sorry about it cutting out, and sorry about Arden immature laughter the whole time.
If you tell our screener, I think it's going to be the same person next week. Also, shout out to Jess, amazing screener. It's going to be myself and Luxander hosting next week. So just tell the screener that I told you that you could get like priority, and if I see Grace and I see that I told you something in the screening notes, then I'll know to take you first. So hopefully we can get that conversation underway. $4.99 from JW Edgy. I'll smoke a J for you, Arden. Hashtag Team High Girl. Thanks, I appreciate it. Listen, I'm gonna be high later once I get home from the movies. I'm responsible with my stonership. Okay, I only get high after work is done, at the end of the day, when I'm not driving anymore. I'm very responsible.
That's good. $5 from Allison Claire. Any tips on how to grieve as a community outside of God/religion? Hashtag Team Josie. Hashtag make toast.
Toasted Arden. They're saying I'm high.
Oh, okay. Now I see it. Okay, I now I see the words. My dyslexia is the worst when there's no spaces.
That's a hard one though. Yeah.
Yeah. So outside of there's a lot of community centers and groups that you can join that are completely secular. I would say that most trans spaces are secular.
Yep. And do you get a point for that? You got a point for the last one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so it's the 22.
22. Okay, we've got $10 here from Min, the caller from earlier. Hashtag Team Josie for taking difficult subjects. Estoy estudiando español. I hope I can find a Hispanic boyfriend. Men in your culture are such a fine piece of masculinity in spite of being machismo.
It's true though. That is the problem, but it's so true. God, they're so hot. Anyway, sorry.
I've rarely found a group of people where I've not found hot people in the group. It's I know. Curse of being bisexual.
I know. Going to salsa club. Oh God, you didn't give me a point for that, by the way.
Did you get a point on that one? Oh my God, you're despicable.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I think you're paying these people.
No, they're paying us 5 video game dollars from political irony. I draw weekend at Liberty. Stay tuned. Hashtag Team Josie. Yes, I want to see your weekend at
Oh,
Liberty.
nice.
That would be great.
Yes, send that to us. €5
Make
from
sure,
Rebecca
Arden, you give me
Borg.
that point. Let's make sure that we
Oh my
count that
God.
point.
Do you even need points anymore? I clearly lost already. I mean, you're just being rude at this point.
I need every point.
It's
know.
just unnecessary greed.
Especially
You are like basically Elon Musk. I mean, the greed.
Wow.
€5 from Rebecca Borg. At Arden, Podarchus Philphalensis, Philphalensis. A pretty lizard endemic to Filfla. Wow, what the fuck? A very tiny uninhabited island of Malta, my home country. Hashtag Josie, just to get a hashtag Josie and
Yes.
eat my entire
Yes, I had to
ass.
get that in there. Love you. Thank you for the super chat and making Arden sound more high.
Well, now I have to find this lizard. Philphalensis. Okay, it's just a Philphalensis. What kind of lizard is this? Ooh, it kind of looks almost like it's like a monitor, like a tree monitor of some kind.
Ooh.
They're saying it is in the family Lacertidae, so I think that does mean it's close to a monitor. That's cool. Very pretty. I love like tree monitors and any of those kind of little freaks. Okay, there we go. Now this one's yours, finally.
$5 from Sintoki, seconding Steven Universe, which has a lesbian wedding. One of my favorite shows of all time. Watch the movie if you don't have time for 5 seasons. Thank you.
Josie's got the hiccups.
No, you're not supposed to notice things.
I'll watch Steven Universe one day, I'm sure. $10 from Uncomfy to Steelman. I think for some, male socialization is not about invalidating trans women, but rather that some trans women may be ignorant or insensitive to the experiences or upbringing of cis women. Thoughts? So I think this is one of those things where you're caught in a trap where if you try to rightfully point out that 99.9% of trans women are going to, like, male socialization is going to conflict with their well-being in a certain way, and like what ostensible benefits you get from it don't really last the same way is kind of the point. Not that people didn't try to do that, or like we didn't miss out on some of the experiences that cis girls go through growing up, but it's also worth noting that there are some trans girls who have known that they were girls from very, very young and grew up their entire lives experiencing the same things as cis women. So I don't know. It's I feel like it's like giving into this weird temptation that cis people have, that they need to be able to in some way generalize all trans women as masculine or problematic in some kind of way, even if they're giving these caveats like you're doing. And it's like, but we just don't need to do that, and it's inaccurate. So like, why are you so interested in being like, but they were male socialized? Like, that's kind of what's weird to me.
It's like, here's just a really simple explanation. Some trans women can be bitches too. And it's okay to understand that. Just like some cis women can also be bitches to other cis women. It's the idea that, that trans woman was rude. It's like, yeah, and how many rude cis women have you experienced in your life too? It's like, it's trying to like single out like one mean and insensitive person to like then represent the entirety of the community. It's like, it's just really pedantic, and it shouldn't be like just widely a broad brushed approach to everybody.
Yeah, I think this would make for a really good call, though. If you want to call in sometime, I would like to talk about that more long form.
Yeah. $10 from Jissen, here to Team Arden and Josie. Hang in there during this bizarre fascist oligarchy takeover, hoping for the best. It is looking dismal as fuck. Yes. Yes, it is. But
Don't
they're
worry.
the broarchy. They're not smart. They're not smart. They're just rich.
Don't worry.
Unfortunately, being
If we don't
rich in
have
this
nuclear
country is a superpower.
holocaust, we're gonna get hit by a meteor, so it's all over anyway.
That's true. It's true. We are like 10 years from now, 2% chance. I don't know. It's very plausible, which is horrifying.
Please, I'm voting for the meteor. $10 from Jasmine Bryant,
No!
stuffing the ballot for hashtag Team Josie.
Thank
You guys
you.
are ridiculous. We might have to start going back up to needing to not just win the vote, but we also have to beat like 30 supers, period, to even get to do the challenge. We used to do that because now we're going way over that amount in votes. And I think maybe we need to bring back a threshold. Can't let you guys get lazy.
Maybe. Or maybe people want to knock you down a notch, and that's valuable enough.
If that gets them to send us money, then by all means, tear me down. I'll get bullied for a job.
$10 from $10 from Una Comfy. Also FWIW. I'm a two-spirit trans man, and while I was targeted for having a female body growing up, there are people insensitive to that everywhere. Men and women, cis and trans. Hashtag Team Arden. Hashtag Team Cursed Fish Vods. Yes.
I think that's kind of what we were saying, is that, like, I appreciate that there are things that somebody assigned female goes through that somebody assigned male doesn't on average, but, there are insensitive people in every group, and there are people who get it in every group. And so the weird urge to be like, oh, but you're definitely socialized male is just like, I know some trans women, my understanding, and maybe she doesn't feel this way, so hopefully I'm not putting words in her mouth, but back to streaming, so maybe she can make a response video. You're welcome for the content, Katie. Katie used to say, I thought that she felt, because she started her job before she transitioned, that there was some sort of ostensible benefit that she could have gotten by being presumed male by her coworkers, but that, maybe is undermined or whatever by transitioning since then. And I think that's probably the case for a lot. I don't think trans people would deny that being assumed to be male comes with certain privileges. It's just, yeah, I don't know. There's a different context to the situation that it feels like we're doing this conflation game where people are like, well, you're saying trans women aren't X. We're like, yeah, we're saying they're not X, but they could be Y or Z. And then they're like, oh, so you're saying that they're not also X again? It's like, I don't know. It's like almost we're using two different definitions of like socialization or like insensitive.
Yeah.
And there's like an attempt to use them in the same way. I don't know.
Yeah, I never was in the good old boys club. Never, not once have I ever been like, Josie, you're a part of the good old boys club. Never.
I tried so hard.
I was always the outcast. I know, I tried too, but then I was just a mean person that wanted to fight everybody, and I'm like, I thought this was what you wanted.
You mean wanting to punch people doesn't make you a guy?
Yeah, I guess not. Yeah. $5 from Jimnick06 on behalf of my poly chatty wife, Zurith Moonpaw. Here's a vote for hashtag Team Arden.
Thank you. I appreciate the pity vote. I need at least 12 more of them in the next couple minutes. $5 from Mr. Boricua 10. Holy shit, that was bold of me, huh? I just felt the need in the moment. I wasn't thinking of it except as a bit of a reflex from feeling annoyed.
This was the misgendering the child at work.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, no, it was pretty bold, but honestly, I love it. Because I mean, man, what a good way to shut someone up than to be like, hey, you're actually not even referring to your own child with the right pronouns. Like, that makes someone feel fucking stupid, which is beautiful.
Yeah. £5 from Sean Escherwood to get 1% of X. Move the decimal place in X to the left 2 places. I think this is the easiest
to the left.
math question math question Sean Escherwood has ever give. But what I love about that is that it's schooling Arden, which is what she.
Excuse me, I have never claimed to say I am competent in math at all. In fact, I feel like I am arguably like math dyslexic, where you start saying numbers at me, and it's like they enter this void in my brain where like I can't recall the order that you said them in or like the context of their relationship to each other, unless it's like behavioral stats where there is strict criteria for what these numbers are, or like, you know, context for what these numbers mean. It enters my brain and gets immediately vaporized.
We need more women in STEM. Arden, you're you're failing us right now.
Excuse me, I'm validating my place as a woman in their model by not understanding STEM. Thank you. 99.99 from Gecko36. Thank you for the generous donation. Did someone say Gecko?
Thank you.
In memory of Jacob Smackdown, hashtag Team Arden. Thank you. Yes. Also, I got a new Sarah Sonorum gecko this past weekend, and she's going to get set up on top of Inks there. She'll be like right up there. She's so pretty, and she's really chill, and she's so cute. Dyscalculia, yeah. See, I've never been like diagnosed with it, but I did like one of those YouTube tests, and I failed it so bad that I was like, oh shit. I think this is the kind of thing where you go to your doctor and you're like, am I supposed to see numbers on this circle?
$9.99 from Echo Sage, celebrating my first full year at HRT. Hashtag Team Arden. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's super great.
I appreciate the pity votes as we near the end.
Is such a milestone.
And then $5 or €5 from Rebecca Borg at Arden. Hashtag Team Josie. God damn, Josie.
Let's go.
A lot of votes.
Let's go. Yeah. $4.99 from JW Edgy. Started making cabinets when the show started. Y'all have been live so long that I'm almost done. Love the long format while working. Enjoy your week. Bye.
Honestly, the show didn't even feel that long to me, but then I looked down at the clock and I'm like, oh my god, it's 5:30. We've gone a while.
Time flies when you're having fun.
All right, and the final super chat, $50 from Gabe Valdez, hashtag Team Gecko Tongue. So glad that I caught y'all live for once. The draft house near me has one bathroom with completely separate rooms for each toilet, which is amazing. Yeah, I've talked about that draft house before. It has like a big, it's like one bathroom, but there's individual stalls and it's all co-ed. So like everyone goes in and goes into their individual stall, then everyone comes out and washes their hands. The big like communal thing.
Man.
And it's like totally normal. Yeah, no genital flashing. I know. Men and women can piss next to each other and not sexually assault each other. It's amazing to consider that.
What?
I know. No. All right, we got another $5 from TACIS. Said my healthcare set back my self-care. Got my ears cleaned and now I can hear more stuff. Hashtag Team Arden. I appreciate the vote, but it is not enough. Unfortunately, I am in fact
that watery chocolate.
The loser. Well, Josie is in fact the winner. And
every movie should be a musical is the winner by a very close margin by 2 points.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Oh my god. Okay, I thought I was gonna have to defend the chocolate milk thing. Okay, this is gonna be easy for me. So
that one's an easier one. Yeah.
Thank you guys for voting on the correct option. Obviously. Okay. Get rid of that. And I will start charging up the timer now. All right, here we go. So, every movie should be a musical. That is the thesis of this TED Talk that you've come to. For evidence, we're going to look at musicals. For example, let's look at The Heathers. When you had this shitty sort of teen drama without the music, it kind of sucked. But when you add the fun songs, all of a sudden, you got a fucking movie musical. That shit's the bomb, right? Awesome. When we look at like Hairspray, for example, right? Imagine Hairspray without the songs. Terrible movie. It's beautiful. The golden age of Disney, what is reflected on as their rise to animation, awesomeness. I have a vocabulary somewhere in that brain of mine. That was because they were doing movie musicals. We're talking Hercules, we're talking Little Mermaid, we're talking even Tarzan. Tarzan was a musical. I mean, come on, let's get real. These are movies that everyone likes, everyone has a good time at. You know that when you put on a Disney movie and you hear Aladdin singing one jump ahead of the breadline, you're like, oh, one swing ahead of the sword. You're getting into it. You're ready. You're right there. Everyone has fun at musicals, and they're always a good time. We've got like Chicago, Lion King is great as a musical. There's so many good musicals that have been turned into movies already. And we just need to start turning all movies into musicals. In fact, I'm going to see the Marvel movie later. And if it's not a musical, I'm going to break someone's fingers. Probably. I can't say that for sure, but it might happen. You never know. I'm a loose cannon. Yeah, movie musicals are the best. And somebody said I'm spitting, and I am. So that's my time. Thank you, everybody. All right.
All I have to say is Amelia Perez.
Okay. I have not seen this yet, and everyone's been talking mad shit. I don't know what. I know it's trans related,
Honestly,
but I don't know anything about it.
Yes, it is. It is trans related, and here's a Josie hot take. I didn't hate it. So yeah, there's a hit on me.
People will sometimes basically say anytime a trans character is not played by a trans person, it's bad. And while I appreciate that, I do want trans roles played by trans characters when possible.
She was
trans. Oh, okay, I thought there was I thought it was like a cis actor situation. Okay.
No,
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I've heard vaguely people complaining about this.
You should watch it that way. Watch it not knowing anything about it, because that's how I did it, and I'm so happy I went that way.
Okay.
It was
fair.
Good. It's on
Somebody
Netflix.
in chat said porn should be a musical. And honestly, porn's illegal.
Honestly, though,
go to jail. You're going to horny jail. No, just kidding. Okay, I gotta go, everyone. It's been real. We'll see you next week. It'll be Lux and I. Bye. See you later.
Yeah, make sure you join the
Get
Patreon.
lost.
Oh, look, we have to keep Arden on the screen longer.
We
all know what she's watching on the other monitor. We all know what she's watching on the other monitor. Geckos and dolphins doing it
was horrible.
Criminal things.
It started to put it away, it like retract it, and then it like stopped, pushed it out a little more, and then went back and licked it. And I'm like, no, you sick fuck. That's so messed up.